Welcome to another episode of the Bastard Sermon. I'm one of your three hosts, Cody Hucker.
Patrick Seta.
Psychopath Luke.
I like that
I
intro.
really like that.
Very nice. Very nice.
Welcome, Psychopath Luke.
Fantastic. We've already been having a lot of great conversations with our guest, Ian Robinson. He is the host of the Cream podcast. You might have seen him back in the day on MTV. You'll see him up at Bastard Fest. He did a bunch of cool unboxing videos, and we're going to talk all kinds of crazy shit. Give it up, boys, for Ian Robinson.
Why, thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Especially because you're not in Columbus.
Dude,
Yeah, he thought we were going to be in Columbus.
I was going to take off early to
Can we talk about like the whole idea, like getting here to this moment to making this happen?
Yeah, dude. So before all this all happened day of, because we booked this a couple months ago through Instagram. After Jamie did the podcast, it was like, gotta have Ian on. He's my co-host on Cream. For the listeners, that's Comics Rule Everything Around Me. Go check that podcast out.
Thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. And I was like, okay, I'm going to set this dude up. It seems like it'll be a good time. He'll be a good fit. We book him in advance. And then I always do a reminder about the day before, or whatever.
I'm so glad you did that, because I'd be at home and you'd be like, this guy's a fucking asshole. Fuck this guy.
Dude,
What's his deal?
It's a podcast. I understand. People got their lives going on. There's kids. Who knows what the fuck people have. So I always send a reminder, and then we entered a confusing stream of text messages immediately where it was just like, oh, man, I can't do today. Work's all fucked up for me. Anyway, we could do this. And it was like, well, the only day that we do it is Tuesday, because me, Luke, and Pat, we have to coordinate three people's work schedules and lives. So it's like Tuesday, 7 p.m.
Right.
And you were like, okay, well, I mean, I don't think I could do that. How about 5:30? Okay, I could do 5:30. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be a douchebag. I booked for this podcast. I'll do that. And I was like, dude,
I was like 5:30.
I was like, I mean, the only time we could do it is then. And then you were like, sorry, man, can't do it. And I was like, it's fine. People cancel. It's all good. I'm not mad at them. And then I get one more text message, and you're like, oh, you guys aren't in Columbus, so I'll let you take over at that point.
So I don't know why. The only thing I've been able to rationalize is that in the last couple of weeks, Columbus has been in the forefront of my mind. Like, Buzzo from the Melvins is doing an acoustic show set up there. Me and Travis are going to this big, like, old man wrestling thing up there. And I don't know what it was, but you guys contacted me, and I was like, oh, wait, they're in Columbus. And tomorrow is my, like, early morning. Like, I have to pry myself out of bed at 5:30, and it's like, I'm not driving home from Columbus at 10 o'clock at
Columbus,
night.
Fuck all that.
So I was like, fuck that noise. Sorry, guys. And then you were giving me your address, and I'm like, wait a minute, Cincinnati. Then not only did I do that, when I asked Siri where it was, Siri's like, right fucking next to you, dude, like 5 minutes away. The fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, oh shit. This guy probably think I do a lot of drugs, but you're not in Columbus. Yeah, let's do it. And then it was much happier time.
I was scared you away with the poop stuff.
No.
Yeah, that's what we were all laughing about.
That was funny, because I was just like, better have a strong constitution. We're going to show poop videos. And I was like, the fuck kind of podcast is this? I wanted to text Jamie and be like, are you into shit? Is there something I don't know about
I was wondering if there was I was wondering if there was messages going back and forth to Jamie, like, what did you set me up for, man? What the fuck?
Like,
who is this guy?
Yeah, it was just funny because there's not a lot that I get like about. Like, I don't care about blood. Would I get piss videos? I guess they're not that big a deal. But like shitting, I'm like, nope, thank you.
You were just thinking Jamie just ultimately punked you.
Basically,
like, he's gonna hate this. You got to do it.
Videos? Ian will love that. He's going to puke all over himself in front of people he doesn't know.
We don't like those videos either. Cody just makes us watch them.
I don't make anybody do anything.
Don't even enable it.
Listeners, if you check out the last episode, Brady begged him to not put on any porn
Kevin
videos.
asked me to do it, so
fair enough.
Half of the band did say, let's watch this poop video.
1/4.
Well,
it took no
the best part of it
seconds.
was that timing was just not with our conversation at all, because as soon as you told me the poop videos, my job kicked into over, because I work at a call center, and once the phones start ringing, they don't stop. And I looked back down, I was like, I haven't answered him. I'll bet dollars to donuts he doesn't think I'm going to show up, and I'm sitting around going, fuck this guy and his shit videos.
Dude, I came in here. All right, I'll
Totally.
He came in hot and handed me his phone. He was like, Luke, I need you to read these text messages.
We may not have a guest today.
Yeah, I was like, I think I fucked everything up. And then you sent me the thing about being on MTV, and that's when I was like, oh, I'm going to be hilarious now. Let me just... A dude that I've never met that doesn't know our dynamic, or probably like hasn't even time to listen to the show yet, I was like, let me just start making fucking weird jokes with the dude over a text message and hope that he understands. Like, you never... Like, texts never translate as well as they do in person with the jokes.
No,
but I was like, I'm going to be a big funny guy at 9 in the morning.
Well, no, literally what I thought was that, if it's a show where it's like, watch this and people react, and it's fucking funny to listen to people react, because I'm sure the reactions are like, like throwing up
Every
or whatever. And I was like, I know my reaction will be like, I'm not watching this. I'll look over here. I was like, you can show them. I'll just be looking over here like, what cool shit you guys have on your wall.
They can play that. We'll
Here's
talk
a mirror.
about comics.
Yeah, oh, no. There's me puking in front of people I don't know.
Dude, I'm so happy you decided to come.
Oh yeah,
through
no,
though.
I wouldn't have missed it. Jamie and
Tank.
Jamie talked. Jamie and Tank talked a lot about you guys, but the weird thing is Tank never told me you were his student.
Oh yeah.
He just always told me like, oh, it's a great show, blah blah blah, and Jamie, because you guys did the show and you took a picture of like you and Jamie, and I was like, the fuck is that? And he was like, oh, I did this great show and yada yada. So everybody had great things to say about it. So I was stoked, and I was like, it's not in Columbus, so I can get home and get to sleep. So everything is coming up fucking roses.
I don't know if it's like a weird thing for Mansfield. I call him Mansfield, by the way, because that's what he like. I've just known him as Mansfield, but everybody else calls him.
I call him Daddy Mansfield.
But
I might start calling him that.
It might be a weird thing
Weird
for him
him out.
to
Please
mention
do.
that I'm his student, because it's like, yeah, he was my high school student, and everybody's like, huh, what the fuck?
Oh.
Like, no, I'm a grown man now with 2 children. Like, it's not
Oh,
that
yeah.
weird.
I mean,
it was years and years
yeah,
and
and
years
yes,
ago.
people also might forget that me and Tank are fucking old. So he ain't as old as I am, but he's getting up there. But yeah, when I first met him 10 years ago, he was still teaching, but it was like the death rattle of it when he finally had to get out. But anyway, I just meant small world with Tank praising the show and Jamie praising the show. No one ever mentioned like the sort of behind the scenes connection, which I just thought was fun.
Thanks, Jamie, and thanks, Mansfield.
And they never mentioned the poop videos.
They never mentioned the poop videos. Like they didn't tell me about you guys. I'm finding out as I'm sitting here.
All right, well, now I said we didn't have any poop videos, but I just want you to watch just this one.
This one?
No, I'm fucking
No,
around.
this is something we definitely want to talk about.
I'm not gonna go into this. I just wanted to fuck with you. But
Okay, that's fine.
yeah, dude. I was shocked that you were willing to come to Columbus at all to do a podcast. Like I was telling you in the text, like I've literally missed shows. Like seeing a show was there with some cool bands. Like I really want to go to this. Hour and 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm cool.
If you, because every now and then I'll get asked, based on, weirdly enough, after 20 years, people are still like, oh, you're that guy from MTV. I want to talk to you. And I'm like, all right. But based on the fact that you guys knew Tank and Jamie, you'd been on with them, you'd been supportive of our shows, I was like, I'm not going to be the guy that dicks out, because it'd have been one thing if you said, oh, yeah, can you do the show? And I was like, yeah. And then you surprised me with something. I forgot. And then was like, thought you guys were in Columbus. I was like, I'll drive up there. It'll be fine. I got to do this. I don't want to be a dick. But I mean, it didn't turn out to be that way. But I was not gonna. I hate people who do that to me. And if you guys had been a bunch of people I didn't know, I'd have been like, yeah, I'm not coming.
Right.
I don't know you, and you have no connection to anyone that I care about, so I'm absolutely not showing up. But on the other hand, I was like, well, I'm gonna look like a dick. Jamie and Tank are gonna be, what the fuck is wrong with you? And so. But it turned out to be fine, and here we are.
There's
It's not that bad.
There's all kinds of shit that I want to get into. I just thought that this was a funny lead into like how all this
It
started.
definitely
but-
was the highlight of my day. Like I showed to my coworker, I was like, "How weird does this guy think I am?" And he's like, "Probably pretty fucking weird." Like out of nowhere, you bring up Columbus. Who the fuck brings up Columbus? I don't know. Dayton might have made sense. It's a half an hour away, but fucking Columbus. I was like, well, you know what? Give me my phone back.
So you're one half of Cream, and
I am.
Jamie Filer's the other.
Yes.
So how long ago did you meet Jamie, and what was like? We need to do a podcast about comics.
So I moved to Cincinnati 10 years ago.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much. I moved here from Boston. I moved here with a girl that I got here. She turned into her mother. Her mother didn't like me, so then she didn't like me, and I didn't like her because I didn't like her mother. So the whole thing didn't work out. And the whole
Then I
plan,
fucked her sister.
And then she turned into her. And
yeah, it was a whole thing. It's a whole bad, mean story. So anyway, I had come down here to go back to school with her, and I was like, well, if I go back to Boston, I can't afford to go to school. I'll just stay down here. And I met my current wife, Miranda, and we started dating. And when I was up here, I had only known about a part of Cincinnati called Liberty Township. Liberty Township, I'm convinced at the dawn of time, good and evil fought, evil lost, and good hid the heart of evil underneath the ground that these people fucking live on.
as someone who has lived in Liberty Township, I
I was
fully
like-
agree.
I was
you
like-
can feel a dark
Yeah,
omniscience from the ground below you.
something
Must never go there, Simba.
It's like the Tommyknockers from Stephen King. Like there's a spaceship under there just fucking with them the whole time. And so I was like, I can't fucking live here if this is going to be, I can't do it. I met Miranda, and Miranda was like, no, you just don't know where to go. There's everything that you have in Boston is here. You just got to find it because it's not shoved into your face. And the first person that she introduced me to was Tank. And it was
What
funny.
a great first dude to meet when you come into
When
Cincinnati.
I first met Tank, Tank was drunk out of his fucking gourd. and there was a band called Van Halen. They were like a Van Halen cover band.
Was he getting super into it?
And he was fucking stoked. So we're
I would have been too. I would have been up there singing all the songs.
So Miranda walks me over to him and she's like, Ian, this is my buddy Tank. And I'm like, hey, Tank. And he's like, yeah, man, Hayden. And I was like, great meeting you, dude. And I slunk off. I was like, forget it. And then I was like, your friend's kind of a dick. She's like, no, he's drunk. He's really into Van Halen. I'm like, I guess who wouldn't be. Really into Van Halen. So then me and Tank started hanging out a lot. And I'm always fully impressed by anybody who can draw, because I can't. I take a pencil and I put it to paper and I have an aneurysm and there's like lines everywhere that doesn't look like anything. I don't even know how to conceive of drawing a human body, or even doing like this that you were sort of knocking. I think it's this painting that I'm pointing to behind you, since this is not really on TV.
Cody always knocks that. 2 years worth of work for both of us.
Dude,
and it's great. And it's tremendous.
I'm the least artistic out of the three of us here, and I feel like a fucking Cro-Magnon man whenever they fucking show anything.
Yeah,
new.
and I'm like, I can't do it. But I don't like. It's not even something I can conceptualize on how to do. Like if I really wanted to, I could learn how to, I don't know, sword fight or something. But drawing, I'd be like, eh. So Tank would sit there while we were watching movies and just draw these ridiculous things. And I started just buying his art. I was like supporting him. I have so much original Tank shit in my house. And then one day he was like, oh, you got to meet my buddy Jamie. And he was like, oh, yeah, he used to be a deathmatch wrestler, and he's this super MMA combat martial art guy. And I met him. And when you meet Jamie, you're like, is he, though? Because Jamie's 108 pounds soaking wet with weights in his hands.
And
you're
redheaded.
Like, and you're like, and he's like, hey, man. And he's not, he doesn't walk in like, what's going on, man? What's a fucking rumble? He just walks in, he's like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, other than 100% Doom on his knuckles, there's not a lot scary about my man. Then you talk to him and you're like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want you to be mad at me ever in my life. That never do I want that to happen.
Little dudes are always the one that'll fuck you up. Like,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and they will.
Everybody
Except for
fucking
Luke.
remember that, bud.
But also, Jamie, like when Jamie talks about it, there's a certain calm that comes over him. Like most people, when they talk about how they fight, they get real energetic. It's a super like ego thing. He just is very monotone about it, which just makes him very scary. But then I found out that we both shared a love of comic books. And Tank loves video games, and he loves the art behind comic books, but he doesn't really read them. Other than I think he was reading Walking Dead at the time.
So
he told me about that.
And so me and Jamie we would like talk to each other through text about a book we'd seen. And then we started this thing where we started meeting, especially after I got out of school and I had a little bit more free time. We would meet once a week to have dinner and just talk about what we were reading that week. And one day I was just like, we should just do a podcast about this. And he was like, yeah, sure. So we started it and we did like 3 episodes and we had to stop. And then we brought it back and we've been doing it consistently now for a couple of years. And it's really cool because Jamie has a very specific outlook on comic books from the artist stem. Like he likes a plot, but it's not integral to him reading a comic book if the art's good. Where I am completely opposite. The art can be great, but if I'm like, this is the dumbest fucking story I've ever read, I'll put it down. It's one reason, like, I stopped reading Walking Dead. The art in Walking Dead is great, but the story, I was like, it's like, oh, look, another band of people that
you can appreciate Tony more, but you don't appreciate the mediocre storyline.
Yeah, and I just got kind of tired of it. So
no, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat when it comes to Walking Dead. I love Tony Moore's shit, but
I feel like I'm somewhere in between when it comes to comic books. Like, I appreciate a great artist, and I can overlook some fucking shitty dialogue and a kind of lackluster plot if they've got solid. Like, that's the Spawn series. A lot of it once it gets into the later issues. The early part, fantastic. First 5 volumes, amazing. Once he takes over fucking hell and kills Malboja, you're like, all right, it's getting weird.
Spoiler.
I'm
new to comics.
Of you who haven't read all
for fucking 2 decades.
Uncle Ben dies.
Wait for me to
like what?
But like for
Bruce
instance,
Wayne's parents were shot.
But The Dark Knight Returns, like that is the shittiest art of all time in a comic book ever. I think.
I'd have to disagree with you.
What's worse than that art? That art's
The
dog
Dark
shit,
Knight Returns, the Frank Miller.
The Frank Miller and his wife like watercolored it and looked like she had a stroke while she was doing
assessment of that book.
I love that book. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I appreciate it.
I like Tiny Ears Batman.
You had to look at it through new eyes.
I like to.
Let me hear your perspective on Dark Knight Returns art specifically.
It's hard to categorize it for, and this is something that's gonna come up a lot in that it's hard to categorize it if you weren't there when it happened,
Yeah.
So
he gave Batman his balls back.
No one had ever drawn Batman that way.
Yeah.
It's to me what it is the art, like Kirby and like a lot of other people. The art has
insane
motion. There's detail in there that you wouldn't necessarily see in other artists, and also there's a kinetic energy from one panel to the other that's undeniable, and it's also stylized. I enjoy people like my favorite. If you can pull them up here, my favorite Batman ever is fucking what's his name? You know what? I knew I was gonna do this. My favorite Batman ever is forget
Jim
name
Lee
of
Batman?
artist. No, you know who's sitting at the other? Who's gonna sit at the other end of this screaming at me? Jamie. The guy that did the Max.
George Clooney.
George Clooney's my favorite Batman. Yeah, absolutely. No,
The nipples get
put
me.
in the Max. No, not Batman. Oh, yeah, Batman and the Max. That's fine.
Batman the Max.
Yeah, no, it's.
I like this unique kind of art style though. I like that shit.
This is okay, right there, and it is by. As soon as I hear his name, I'm gonna feel like a jerk. Scroll down.
Max Dream's number 3. Let me just look it up real quick.
Sam Keith. Sorry, Sam Keith. Like I have a Sam Keith Batman on my chest. That's why it's so embarrassing when I forget his name. So like that kind of like that stuff, and people look at that and they go, his ears are too big, his cape's too. This is fucking stupid. So the stylized way Frank Miller did it knocked us all on our ass because Batman had never been drawn that way before, and he had never been that angry.
I mean, just as an artist looking at this, like whenever I see the panels are like I like the styles of them, but just a lot of things technically wrong with it for me. Like,
yeah, but you see, I grew up with Kirby. You look at Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby is nothing but technically wrong.
Yeah,
like everything. You're like someone's head shouldn't be there without a neck, and this guy's shoulder shouldn't be this way when he's pointing that way. But it doesn't matter because it's Kirby's. Kirby's like the Cervantes of fucking.
I love Kirby, and I love the Kirby bubbles especially. Like I love those black fucking bubbles that he did all of his energy waves in.
It always
That's my favorite
did
part of
surprise
Kirby
me
shit.
as much of a fine artist as Jamie is that he loves Kirby as much as he does, because a lot of people where they come from the art angle of it, they've got a problem with Kirby. Like all my comic book collector friends who are neither here nor there, they don't really draw, they don't really write, they don't really care. We're all Kirby. We all bow at the altar of Kirby. But I got a lot of friends who are fine artists who are like, fucking Kirby, I don't get it. And I'm like, I can't explain it to you.
You know who I really, really love seeing do?
Look at that fucking Superman, dude. That's fucking ridiculous.
Like, my favorite artist when it comes to detail and flow from one panel to the next has got to be Clayton Crane. Like, anything he does is just, it's insane. Like, it's with the detail you were talking about, the small, minute details in it. Like, he's famous for doing Spawn and the symbiotes, but I love everything Clayton Crane does.
What's his specific, Luke? Do you have a book that you really like?
Yeah, like the Venom vs. Carnage. It's when Toxin is first introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Carnage gives birth to
isn't there
Toxin.
like 5 of them? Like 5 Venoms or symbiotes?
Well, there's Venom.
I'm new.
Well, Venom has a bunch of offspring.
there's Venom.
This is him right here?
There's Riot, Whiplash. Yeah, that's Carnage.
Crazy.
Clayton
No, I
Crane.
know
That's
Carnage.
the cover of Venom versus Carnage.
This shit
The
is
whole comic
wild.
looks like that?
Yeah, the whole comic, every page looks like that.
Blood,
it's
sweat, and
insane.
tears.
This
Like-
seems like you'd be sitting there
like-
for 5 years on one
without
Check this
question.
out. There's a
but
panel.
But then you look at like Japanese manga, and that's the thing about like I'm not a huge manga guy, but the one thing
I'm into it now.
always
He's a big manga dude.
Yeah.
Read it all the time.
He's
every
wearing
day.
the shirt right now.
Jamie is a ridiculous
shirt.
manga fan. The one thing I've always given credit, it's not that I don't like manga. I'm just like, yeah, big eyes screaming. I'm good with it. I don't need it. But the thing that I've always respected about them is that they have these massive pages that are detailed to, and they can pump out like a trade worth of stuff a week or every 2 weeks. And someone who's drawing something like that, it'd take him 7 months to get a comic book out.
Yeah.
And I've never understood that. I'm like, if these guys in Japan can crank this shit out at that level of greatness artistically, we should be able to do it as well.
There's a specific panel.
Do you like
in
Ryan
that,
Stegler?
Yes.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
There's a
is it? Who is
specific panel
Ryan
in this
Stegler.
in that whole thing that it kind of opened my eyes to like, I don't know how an artist can take how they perceive something in the comics, like
Stegler.
in that
We're not a big fan of cops.
in that series, it shows the symbiote growing over someone's face, like they're becoming it, and the white over their eyes.
Sure.
It shows like a very see-through like substance as it's morphing around,
And
and
don't-
it's like you would never would have thought about it in that way while it's being activated because it's so sci-fi, but he's putting more realism and detail into it.
If you put Ryan Stegler like Spider-Man or something like that, it should come up. Don't get me wrong. I fully understand that like the Clayton guy that he's talking about or McFarlane or something like that is a better artist than Frank Miller. It's the way that the art hits you. Like, there's a lot of guys who are great. Like Jim Lee is a tremendous artist. Mm-hmm. I like his Batman, but I don't. But I'm like, yeah, it's Batman. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no like. There's nothing to anything that he draws other than.
I love Greg Capullo's Batman.
He's awesome.
New 52 because I love Spawn, and he drew most of Spawn shit with Todd McFarlane back in the early days,
which a lot of people don't know. And he should get a lot more credit for that than he does.
And Capullo was a complete alcoholic when he was doing that, and he owns up to that. Like he was like, "Yeah, I painted all that shit when I was blackout drunk," which I can't even fucking draw a straight. Like I'm an artist, but I can't draw anything.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't.
And he's blackout drunk, drawing some of the most amazing splash panels you've ever seen in your entire fucking life. Chains going everywhere, bodies being ripped apart, hellscapes, and all this insane shit.
When my buddy of mine started writing Batman for a little while, and Capullo was doing his art, he was super excited because it was like, this guy he gets it. He sent me. So Scott sent me some of the pages he was doing, and Scott was like, it just said like there was one where Scott helped and created the Court of Owls, which is like
love
a big,
it. Love it. I love the new 52 intro with Batman.
Yeah. I liked
it broke apart
elements.
Agreed.
After Death in the Family.
Well, the problem with the new 52 is they never committed to it because they were like, Batman is completely fucking changed, but the Green Lanterns are exactly the same. The Flash is completely different, changed, but Wonder Woman really hasn't changed that much.
I feel like DC's fallen off in the new 52
I like him. He's like,
area.
I'm gonna eat cookies because I don't care at all.
No, I'm reading Flashpoint.
No, I feel
it's like my wife when she's like, "Oh, you're talking about comic books? I'll be over here."
No, I'm into it. I'm new. You guys are the experts. I'm just listening.
To me, Flashpoint and Darkest Night was that was the last stop for DC. I think when they restarted it with the new 52, they really
well. The
fell
problem
off.
with DC, it's the same thing. The problem with their movies, DC is trying to compete with Marvel rather than creating their own thing. So rather than being like, okay, our characters are more sort of godlike than street level like Marvel stuff, let's create these really, like, you could do some really fun, goofy, fucking weird shit with Batman that people would dig reading, and instead it's like the Batman's darkest rival, and wow, again, that's like the 37th darkest rival he's had this year.
Calculator Man?
Right.
Yeah, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah, and
Hush Returns.
DC does the same thing with their movies. DC should do really amazing individual films that are not a connected universe like Marvel. Like Joker, like Wonder Woman was great. There's one other one that was actually not as bad.
Since we're on this,
yeah.
You know what I heard today is Johnny Depp might be the new Joker.
Oh,
and
good.
I don't like that at all.
Who cares?
Well,
it just doesn't matter to me.
Here's the thing
it's
with
just
me.
like it's being pushed down your throat.
I have, and Jamie can allude to this. One of Jamie's favorite things used to be to just like wind me up and watch me go because I would turn into The Exorcist when I got mad about something.
Yep.
Are you mad?
And
about
I
something
had
right
no. Well, the other thing is I had 3 separate aneurysms about people being cast as something, and I was wrong. First, when they cast what's his name as Captain America after he played the Human Torch,
Chris Evans,
and he was like this big jock. I was like, "Fuck that motherfucker!" And he was perfect.
He was great.
He was great.
He's a good actor.
Heath Ledger got cast as the Joker. I was like, "Fuck that pretty white motherfucker!" Brilliant.
I don't want to see him
Absolutely
lick his hand and fuck anybody in the ass as the Joker.
And then when what's her name, Gal Gadot got hired as Wonder Woman, was like, "Fuck that fast fucking bullshit," and she was great. So now, whenever anybody gets cast, I'm like, all right, I should just sit here and shut up because I've been wrong a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Johnny Depp. I think Johnny Depp 25 years ago would have made a great Joker. I think now,
I can't imagine him doing.
You know
this
who needs to be the
stupid
Joker?
laugh. I think Robert
Joaquin
Pattinson
Phoenix
will be a good Batman. I think that dude's a really good actor.
I don't know anything about him because I
Everybody knows him for Twilight.
Right. See, I knew him from Twilight, but I never saw the Twilight movies because when the Twilight books came out, I was in Boston and I was working at a home for troubled kids, and they were all teens, and they were fucking wouldn't shut up about this Twilight thing. And I was like, all right, I should read one just so I can kind of know what the kids are talking about. I got about halfway through the book, and I was like, "This is like a length of bone from a coloring book. Like, I can't handle this at all."
It's not for.
And I got to the point. I got to the point where like they sparkle in the sun. I was like, "Thanks, I'm good for playing our game." So I never saw the movies. The only movie I've ever seen this dude in. How weird is this? The only movie I've ever seen Robert Pattinson in is the movie that came out recently, The Lighthouse,
which is
awesome.
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 It was so good.
He's so good.
Bro, let me tell you this.
And
that's who I was
fucked up
going
and
to tell
weird.
Joker is Willem Dafoe.
As someone who has seen his in the spotlight Hollywood stuff, like Twilight, he had one with Reese Witherspoon a few years ago. I thought that shit was mediocre at best. But apparently his I think so. Yeah. But he does a bunch of indie stuff apparently, and then in this Lighthouse, I just absolutely love.
Well,
as soon as I finished up the indie films and Lighthouse, I was like, you know what, I'm down for anything.
Yeah, I was
gonna
go. I want to see Lighthouse because I liked. What was it, Witch? The other movie that guy did? Yeah. I really liked that. So I was like, well, I'll watch Lighthouse, Robert Pattinson. I don't really have anything for or against him. And then he got cast as Batman. I was like, okay. You know, like, he might be good. He was fucking weird as shit in this and like grumpy and quiet and sort of that Batman vibe. So it might be great. My worry for that film is really more that they've got too many people in it. Like whenever there's too many villains, one villain will walk away with the show, and then usually it's not the villain who's the focal point, and the whole thing falls apart. Like with there's
the one pulling the strings.
Are you guys hip to this? This is what I was going to say on the.
I've been seeing this
on
for
the Lighthouse
years.
note. Willem Dafoe is the one that they need to cast as a fucking.
He
Joker.
would be a good one,
Look at
like
this
an
man's
old
face.
Joker.
Yeah,
or
but
something.
he would be great as the Joker if they ever did Batman Beyond, and they needed like the old Joker to come out. Do you know what Batman Beyond is?
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking like,
or if they did the Dark Knight Returns,
Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be a good one because he could come back as Batman, and then this guy would play.
See, the '80s were tough for me. I was not a fan of the Michael Keaton Batman.
It kind of aged bad, to be honest.
Not only that, but to me, the Joker. This is why I love Heath Ledger. To me, the Joker is evil.
Yeah.
He's fucking evil. And Jack Nicholson played him as like your crazy Uncle Bingo who just got
Annex.
paroled.
Yeah, Uncle
and I was like, I'm not really into this. He was just like, whackity schmackity do. I killed this guy, murmur. And I was like, yeah, I'm not in this at all. And Mr. Mom is Batman. I couldn't deal with it on any level. and they made Commissioner Gordon a fucking asshole. And I was like, I can't handle this movie. And everybody loved him, and I got a lot of yelled at for it. And I was like, meh. So when Heath Ledger, I was like, oh, they're gonna blow the Joker again. And I'll never forget he takes the mask off and he goes, whatever makes you weird or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I just, like, the first minute I saw his face and I heard his voice, I was like, he totally gets it. And then by the end of the movie, I was like, I love you, Dream Man. I was so excited because the Joker is by far my favorite character in comic books. It has been since I was a kid because Batman was like the first. Batman's the only book that, like, even when I was broke and had no money to eat, I would eke out enough to read Batman at the comic book shop. He's
Batman.
like my dude. And the Joker was always my favorite. So when they fucked him up as Jack Nicholson, I was like, I'm not feeling this at all.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And I understand a lot of people like it. And everything that I say is quantified as the, in my opinion, in quotes before it. It's not like I'm saying it's law. I'm just saying for me.
Bro, I am listening. If it doesn't make sense, but I'm listening to a mirror. Because I'm the fucking same way, man. I get furious when people take like the comic books and they're like, okay, we're gonna do a movie and then we're gonna twist all of the characters around into something they're not because nobody wants to see it. They've seen it a million times, so I'm gonna do my original content. I feel like you should just stick to it. Because it's loved and appreciated.
Luke, what about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie? That's completely different from anything that they've ever done.
I appreciated it for its
Phoenix Joker movie is basically because Todd Phillips, the guy that directed it. He directed a long time ago a movie called Hated about a punk rock guy named G.G. Allen.
And The Hangover.
You'll love this. G.G. Allen, like when he comes on stage, he like shits in his hand and throws.
Hated. I'm familiar with the documentary.
So like I kind of knew him from that, and then we lost touch. And then when I was on MTV, we reconnected because he had done Old School, and I had to do the film junket for Old School. And so Todd wanted to make Taxi Driver and was like, how can I make Taxi Driver? And people go see it. The Joker. Like, it's Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
And it's
but
brilliant.
I appreciate that.
It's brilliant,
I like
and it's
that
wonderful. And I think that the only reason I wish it wasn't so sort of stuck in this one thing of like, this is this guy in this world at this time is I think Joaquin Phoenix would make a great foil as an actual Joker for a Batman and another movie. But I don't know if it would work, because it was more about mental instability than it was about
standalone
being crazy.
also.
That'd be
Yeah.
crazy though, wouldn't
I
it?
It
understand.
would be awesome. I think he was fantastic.
He was
I love
fantastic.
it, and I appreciate him as the Joker, and I liked what he did. But like, if you were to, like, I don't think the Joker would have had. I understand it's his like beginning, but my Joker would have never cried on TV about like you abandoned us.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If you read the Joker.
White Knight?
No. The one that Alan Moore wrote.
Mein Kampf?
No.
Oh my God.
Mein Kampf. Yeah. No, the fuck. What is it called? Anyway, it's like the definitive Joker story. Like the idea. So the idea that the Joker was forced to do a robbery by a bunch of
Killing
guys,
Joke.
and where Killing Joke,
Talking about
and where the Red Hood was never canon. Like Alan Moore said, I think this is what happened, and everyone was like, this is what happened because Killing Joke was so good. But if you look at that, which has become canon, he lost his shit when his wife died. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was sniffling the whole time.
I
That's
think-
one of the
yeah.
most well-respected Joker books
I
of
think
all time.
humanizing the Joker isn't the deal. I just think this Joker wouldn't work because he's not somebody who is psyched at the fact that he snapped.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm out of control. Someone should do something because I'm hurting. The Joker's like, this is fucking awesome. I've finally gone so far off the reservation.
Yeah.
I can like boil a baby and make the dad drink its soup, and I'm gonna be stoked that happened.
Yeah.
I don't think that Joker would work as a foil against like what's his name's Batman. That's the only reason. I thought the movie was brilliant.
I thought they should have made it a standalone. I don't think that they should have drug it into the Batman universe at all.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should do a sequel. I think they should just let it go.
That's how I
It
thought
will
about
happen.
it. I was like,
It
please.
will.
Of course it will.
It will
I was like,
happen.
please don't ruin this movie by making a sequel or dragging this into the fucking DC.
Oh yeah, no, they absolutely will make this. They made all the money in the universe, so they're just going to back up a Brinks truck full of money, and they'll be like, though, what's his name is a super art guy. He may not actually. Joaquin is like one of those dudes that will be like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Did you ever see Clay Pigeons with Joaquin in it?
No,
That's a
but I
ever see Her
fantastic
with
movie.
Joaquin?
Yeah,
That was
he
good.
makes
Her
good
was
movies.
good.
Her made
Gladiator?
Her made me sit
good
down.
He was
movies.
great in Gladiator. What a cunt.
Yeah.
When I watched Her with Joaquin Phoenix, I turned that TV off. I sat there in silence for 10 minutes, and I thought about what exactly a life form was.
Did you ever see? Yeah, right. There you
Good
go.
point.
What does this even mean?
Did you ever see? You Were Not Really Here.
I really want to. I want to
It's-
see all those, but I haven't seen. It's where he wants to be a rapper. He plays
No,
himself.
no.
Or
That's no.
I'm
I
Still
saw
Here?
it. It's a mockumentary that he made, but nobody knew
No.
he was making a mockumentary.
No, I'm.
He,
He's
wait,
thinking of something different.
Yeah, so that is true. The mockumentary. I've never seen it. The only reason is because. So one of my idols is Andy Kaufman, and the fact that he went so far is like Andy Kaufman levels of genius. But then because they put too much pressure on, they wanted a certain amount of money for the release. He kind of let it slip before the movie came out, and didn't let the movie come out with everybody not knowing that he wasn't fucked up. And I was like, that's kind of pussy. No, there was a movie he did recently called "You Were Not Really Here," and he basically plays a combat veteran who's hired by people to very bloodily, if that's a word, and harshly get back people who are kidnapped. So like he goes into these places where like they're like, oh, they've kidnapped my daughter and they're forcing her to have sex, and he's like, okay, and he takes all this money and he walks in there with like hammers and shit and beats people to death with hammers and the back's hammers, and it's fucking
This sounds
violent.
I
and
need
it's
to
insane.
see this.
You were
That
never
sounds
there. It is.
awesome.
So like
There it is. It's fucking insane.
He's
and
the
it's
guy
based on
they
a book that's
hire-
even more fucked up.
So he's the guy they hire for like, we're not negotiating with these guys.
Yeah, we're gonna go and kill them.
I want to see this shit
Yeah,
now.
and what happens is he gets embroiled.
Netflix?
He gets embroiled in a. He gets conned into doing something. It turns out that the people who did it are setting him up, and it's just his. And when I saw this, I was like, okay, because the Joker thing was breathing around when this came out. When I saw this, I was like, okay, I want to see him do a Taxi Driver Joker thing. And so if you can check it out, it's not long either. It's like 75 minutes because
Dude,
the book is a pamphlet.
I watched
Yeah.
that shit tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite films that he's ever done, and I've liked pretty much everything he's done. Even some of the stuff he did when he was a kid was not bad.
A little
Yeah.
off topic from this, but something that you brought up, the
Sure.
Andy Kaufman thing. How did you feel about the Jim Carrey Man
Hated
on the
it
Moon
with
doc?
all the
That's-
fiber of
You
my
guys
soul.
hated it?
Let's
Why'd
get
you
into
guys
that.
hate it?
Hate it. Okay, first
pretty-
of
It was
all,
ridiculous.
I'll get into
first of
mine
all,
after.
Andy Kaufman was not mentally retarded. And so the fact that he
Yeah.
played him like he was fucking mentally retarded pissed me off. Andy Kaufman walked into a room and was like, hey, what's going on? and then he would go and do something fucked up. You never knew what he was going to do. He didn't walk in going, I had a plane flight, and the plane flight. He didn't do that. That was not him. And the other thing is they really, really played down how much Bob Zmuda had to do with his...
The wrestler that he had beef with?
No, Bob Zmuda.
No, Bob Zmuda was his partner that played... What's his alter ego character? The
Jimmy Cliff.
Yeah,
not Jimmy Cliff. That is
Jimmy
the Reagan
Clifton,
guy.
right?
Clifton. Yeah.
Tony
Clifton.
Tony Clifton.
We'll get it one day.
Tony.
Yeah, we got halfway there. You got
Clifton. I got Tony.
Exactly. Nailed it.
We're a team.
But so Tony Clifton was this character that he would play, where he would come out there and he was supposed to be like one of the 50s lounge singers, Rat Pack era type guys. And he'd come out there and just be an asshole, and he'd book like legitimate gigs for like lounge singing. And he'd go out there and he'd be like.
Andy Kaufman forced Taxi before he would renegotiate his contract after the show became a hit. Forced him to give Tony Clifton 2 guest spots on the show. Okay, and then he showed up, and everybody was like, "That's got to be Andy in a costume, but he would never break character." And he was so fucking out of control that they had to fire him, even though. They knew they were, and they fired him, and he started like punching on the producer. Like Kaufman went as far. His whole thing,
but then
was
it wasn't
to fuck
really.
people.
It wasn't always Kaufman though,
right?
Because to fuck with him even harder, what he would do was he would have Tony Clifton show up places, and everybody's like, "It's Andy," and then fucking Andy Kaufman would walk in the room, and be like, "Hey, what's up, Tony? It's good to see you." And he'd be like, "It's good to see you too."
At one point, he booked a whole concert hall of people who knew it was Andy Kaufman and Tony Clifton, and he got about halfway through and he's abusing the audience. Everybody thinks it's really, really funny. And then Andy Kaufman comes out from backstage and he's like, Tony, I told you not to fucking do this. You're using me that we're friends and we're not really friends. And they had this big fight on stage and then everybody started freaking out like, wait, this guy was really insulting me. This isn't all part of a joke. And there was almost a riot. Like he pushed it as far as he possibly could. Same thing with the wrestling thing. Like nobody knew until they showed the King in the movie that it was not
Jerry Lawler, right?
King Jerry Lawler, that it was not real. I've been watching wrestling since I was a kid, and I still do. It's just one of those nerd things I never grew out of. And nobody ever knew that he never let it go. Zmuda never that it was fake until the movie blew that up, which I thought they shouldn't do.
And Jerry Lawler was friends with him also
the whole time.
Which in the documentary that they made, Jim Carrey was actually fucking pissing off the real Jerry Lawler because they brought in Jerry Lawler for the Man on the Moon for the movie, and in the documentary, like Jim Carrey was doing shit that he thought that fucking Andy Kaufman would be doing, like dropping eggs from fucking like 4-story balconies on top of his head. And he was like, dude, I was in on it with him. He was like, I knew what the fuck he was doing. I'm playing a part.
Like, if you ever want to see an actual great
he
thing.
almost beat his ass.
Yeah, and he should have. If you want to see, have you ever heard of an artist named Box Brown?
No.
Okay. He's great. He's a minimalist, but he's a tremendous artist. He loves wrestling, and he did a whole thing called Is This Guy For Real? And it was a story of Andy Kaufman, how he fell in love with wrestling and why he did the whole thing. And like Andy Kaufman used to go see wrestling when he was a little kid. Andy Kaufman's whole thing was, I want to fuck with people. And the very idea that there was an art form out there where people got that angry, because back in the day when nobody knew that it was all fake, people would stab wrestlers and stuff.
Oh, shit.
And he was like, the bad guy wrestlers are the greatest form of entertainment in the world. And he always wanted to be one. That's why when he approached, I think it was Mid-South, and said, I want to do this character, Mid-South was like, well, you're super popular. Why not? And Lawler was like, I've known him for a while because he used to come around the shows and stuff. I'm down to do it. And so like the movie blew that. The movie fucked up what he was like. And then Jim Carrey went on this whole fucking thing about how he got possessed by him and called to him.
He started talking to.
He looked like an asshole.
He started talking to his fucking daughter too, who had never got to meet him ever. Andy Kaufman's daughter never got to meet him ever. Like he died before she was born, I think, or when she was so little that she has no recollection of him. And Jim Carrey's on set with Andy Kaufman's real daughter in the documentary and talking to her as if he's Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, it's
I'm just like, this is fucking disgusting.
It was
Don't
the
do
whole
that.
thing was horrible.
I
just comes
don't
across
know
as an
much
asshole.
about Andy Kaufman or all that. I know a little bit, and I did see the Jim Carrey thing. But while I was watching him, like the behind-the-scenes shots, it seemed like he just got a green card to be an asshole on set.
Exactly.
He was an
everybody
asshole the
like-
whole time.
And he thought that was what Andy was about. And Andy was not about. He wasn't about being an asshole. He was just about like, let's make people as uncomfortable as we can. Like he
walk the fucking line.
Yeah, he went out and got hired as. Here's the difference between Andy Kaufman and the rest of the world. Andy Kaufman went out and got a job as a busboy. And the whole reason was because he was super popular on Taxi, and people would be like, aren't you Andy Kaufman? He'd be like, I get that all the time. Now, most like actors or whatever would do that, and then they would go in the back and whatever. He didn't do that. He actually bussed tables to the point of where the guy who owned the restaurant was like, I know what this is, but he's the best busboy we've ever had. Like, he showed up on time. He split all of his tips. He always cleared the tables. Like, he actually was like, no, I'm not just going to pretend to do this because, haha, I'm funny. I'm going to be a busboy.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, aren't you? And he's going to go, no. And just continue bussing
all
tables.
just for that.
He's like,
all
so
just for
he
that.
was all about developing a personality
Sure.
and becoming it.
Yeah, or he was just about how uncomfortable can I make people? How can, instead of like, I'm going to tell jokes and be funny because I come out and I go, and then haha, whatever, like Jerry Seinfeld or something. He was like, I'm going to make people laugh because they're nervous, or laugh because they don't know what's going on. Like when he did Mighty Mouse, people were like, the fuck is this guy doing? He's on Saturday Night Live. It's the biggest show in the world.
Yeah.
He comes out and stands there and acts super nervous while the theme to Mighty Mouse plays. And then as soon as Here I Come to Save the Day comes on, he gets super calm and goes, Here I come to save the day. And then goes back to being weird and creepy and they're like, the fuck is going on? And you had to laugh because you didn't know what was happening.
Panic.
And I get very much, because there's people that are dear friends of mine. They're like, yeah, I don't get it at all.
Yeah.
And I get that you don't have to get it. I understand that whole point. But yeah, Andy Kaufman's a super big hero of mine, and the movie pissed me off. And I fucking have hated Jim Carrey since. Like, I can't get over
Did you hate Man on the Moon, the movie itself, and the documentary, or just the documentary specifically?
I didn't see the documentary because all I saw, you know how Netflix does that annoying thing where
Yeah.
it shows a whole bunch of scenes?
Yeah.
It showed him being like, I sat on the beach and talked to Andy, and I knew he was inside me. And I was like, I can't watch 2 hours of this. I'll kill me and him. It'll be a bloodbath. I can't do it. And so
It's infuriating.
I couldn't bring myself to do it. Like, my Andy Kaufman thing is, here's how bad it is. I bought an Andy Kaufman wrestling doll, and I bought a Freddie Blassie wrestling doll, and I bought a Barbie dinner set, and I made a diorama of Andy Kaufman's movie, My Dinner with Blassie. He did a movie where he went to lunch with Freddie Blassie, and they just were like arguing the entire time about wrestling, and they were starting fights with Bob Zamuda, who was pretending to be a patron. And I loved that so much. I was like, I'm going to make a diorama. My wife was like, why? I was like, I don't know, because I have a couple extra dollars and I want to make a fucking diorama. So he has been a hero of mine forever. It was what I did on MTV that backfired horribly and got me fired.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because
Sure.
I just found out you were on MTV. What exactly did you do?
I was an on-air news reporter, which is the biggest oxymoron in the fucking world. But
I want to hear some stories.
so, all right.
Talk about that specifically to lead it. We'll get to the beginning of it, but you were already on the diorama thing. How did it backfire on MTV? And then we'll back it up to the beginning of MTV.
Okay, so the way that it backfired is that I thought it would be funny to take the piss out of celebrities, not be mean or harsh or but just kind of nudge, wink, wink. And everybody who's watching along with me is like, this person's a little full of themselves for the fact that they sing in a band. And MTV was having none of it. And so I fought with them
That's whack.
from the word go, because that's what I did when the whole thing started. So before YouTube, long ago, and when the
Once upon a time.
before Fire, there was all you could do is to do this kind of thing. There were no podcasts, there was no YouTube. It was called public access television. And what you would do is you would go down to the public access channels, like channel 22 or 37 or whatever. You would sign up for time, and they would just give you time. You just took the time they gave you. Luckily, we got around 11 o'clock on Friday night and to do a show. And then they're like, fill the show up with whatever the fuck you want and bring it back and we'll air it. So originally, my grand concept was that there was gonna be skits and this and that, and then I couldn't really do any of that. So I sat the camera in front of me, and I would just review records, and I would make fun of them. And we did little skits, like I had a fake black metal singer named Narcolepticus who would pass out in the middle of shows and that kind of stuff. And
Wake up and eat a baby.
It'd wake up and be like, and the whole thing was he'd come to America because he always passed out, so he never got to burn any churches.
He was Norwegian, right?
Yeah, so he built churches out of popsicle sticks so he could burn churches too, but he would eat all the popsicles, so he burned a hole in his stomach. So his band were doing a tour tour through the U.S. so that he could get this operation, but he kept falling asleep on stage. So eventually the band just left him in America, went back and formed another band called Frost Giant, which there's actually a demo of that my friends did.
Fucking way.
And then I did this whole photo shoot of me as like him with like I had a long hair wig and the black metal stuff on, but I'm like going to work and I got a job and I'm like having lunch with the rest of it. And it was this
Get
whole
the McDonald's hat
thing. Yeah,
on.
and I'm like this whole thing that we did. So that
Sounds
but
funny as hell.
and we
This
wanted
was
to,
public access.
Yeah,
That you started
and
doing this. What
This
year are
sounds
we
like
talking?
this
right
so
now?
much fun.
Oh, let me see. If I started MTV in 2000, we started this public access show in 1983 or 94.
You were hip to black metal in 1983, 84. That's like when
Oh,
Mayhem's
yeah.
very first coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mayhem-
you're talking Hellhammer. You're talking fucking.
To me, there is very little difference between professional wrestling and black metal.
For sure.
And so as soon as I saw it, I was like, absolutely. And when I found out they weren't kidding, I was like, I'm even deeper into
black
this
metal is
whole.
my bread and butter.
Because
so,
like
yeah.
they were, I mean, like you would see Immortal or all these bands, and they would be like, and you're like, they know this is. Oh, they don't. Oh, this is brilliant. They're fucking living it. I love these guys. Like to commit to that level of absurdity and be. It's your life. I mean, that's just
kill
that's-
people.
yeah, and kill people and,
fucking
set fire to. Did
be
you
willing
read
to go to jail?
Lords of Chaos? Did
Yeah,
you
of
read
course.
that? Oh,
I've
my
never
God.
read it. I've watched the movie. I heard that the I don't know, the dudes involved didn't like the movie. They didn't like the book even more that they didn't like the movie. I've watched a lot of
Man,
interviews.
I never
and
watched the
things
movie,
like that.
not for any reason. I just never got around to it. But so anyway, so we did that, and we named the show Monkey Butt Sex because what
Love
we
it.
wanted to do is when people were looking at
On
the
cable access, you named it.
they
Monkey
didn't
Butt
give a
Sex?
fuck. You could have been like, you could have been like Hitler's tutu.
That'd be
They'd been
some
like,
good
great, just as long
television.
as you get the tape in, we don't give a fuck. And so we wanted people when they're looking at the viewer guide to go, Monkey, what the fuck is this, and watch it. And we got super popular, like weirdly popular. Labels started calling us, be like, do you want to interview bands? And we would get free records. And then one time we were out in California, and this kid in Venice was like, hey, the Monkey Butt Sex guys. And we're like, oh, do you live in New York? And he's like, no, they showed out here. Like people were taping the show, getting time in like Chicago and other places in California and showing and then sending the tapes to each other. It was like tape trading, but for a public access show, a cable access show. It was pretty cool. And so they hired me for MTV because they were, one of the guys who was a big fan of it was this guy, this is his real name, Ocean McAdams. And
I've heard that name before.
You have?
Yeah.
Really?
I swear to God, I've
Ocean
heard that name.
McAdams.
All right. I mean, I don't know where because
I don't know.
He's like
What
a
kind of porn
producer
you
guy.
watch, man?
Yeah. He used to watch my show before he went out to drink and with his buddies. And when he got a job at MTV News, they were hiring a newscaster, and they're like, we want somebody that people can relate to. And he's like, I got just the fucking guy, and that's why they hired me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but that was, and so as far as stories go, you'd have to. I have a lot of them. You'd have to.
You just have to pull something
Ask.
out of them.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, like, I can tell you the time I almost got into a fist fight with Fred Durst.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Please
Okay.
tell me
Okay.
about the day you wanted to break stuff.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't like I say hate a lot because hate is like a comma in New York, but I don't really hate a lot of bands. There's music I don't listen to, but I don't, I don't hate. It's a lot of wasted energy. I fucking hate Limp Bizkit. I hate their whole vibe. I hate
I
like you
love
go
it.
out of your way.
like I
to
go out
say,
of my way
"Fuck
to be
you."
like, if someone comes up to me and goes, I really like Mumford and Sons, I'm like, well, we probably don't have a lot to talk about musically, but maybe you like cool movies. If you come up to me and say I like Limp Bizkit, conversation's fucking over. Like we have nothing.
Out of my face, bitch.
And just like thank you for
Yeah.
for playing our
He
game.
likes Limp Bizkit.
No, I
legitimately.
don't.
Oh, yeah,
no,
Luke
I
likes
don't.
it.
No, I don't.
It's his favorite band.
No, it's not.
The heart breaks.
It's not. I swear to God, it's not.
Snap.
I
Just
swear
right
to
in
God, I
half.
fucking hate Limp Bizkit. I promise.
Just kidding.
Keep going though.
We-
What
we
happened?
So
made that up.
anyway, but so when I got on MTV, it was between 2000 and 2003. It was like the era of Limp Bizkit. Every time that shitheel did anything,
It was just
they
one
were
of
just
those
like, it's the
decades.
best. So all I did was make fun of him constantly on air in front of millions of people. Like just I remember one time the camera came up for me to do the news, and I had a backwards on, and I was like, today in the news. Like I would just fucking rip this guy a new asshole every. I had a friend of mine who knew them told me that like. Press never bothered Fred, but as soon as I would come on and make fun of him, he would lose his fucking mind. And the reason is because I knew he was full of shit. When he was out there rocking his brand new Minor Threat shirt, I was like, eat a dick. You know nothing about hardcore, you fucking piece of shit.
Dude, he's legit.
What do you know?
Yeah.
I'm Seeing Red. Is that the only
So-
song you know, bro?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't even fucking know the
And
deep
it was
cuts,
like,
man.
and he was like, oh, this is my old Minor Threat shirt. And I'm like, really? Because it looks very new. And so I fucking hated him. So long story short, Metallica, for whatever reason, decides to do Metallica Icon on MTV. And this was the show where they're going to celebrate the glory of Metallica. Now, Metallica has long since been worth anything when this came on, but they were everyone at MTV was like, "Oh, they're metal. Don't you like them?" I'm like, "Not for like 15 years. No."
Yeah, you like metal, Metallica, right?
I'm like, not.
It's
Like,
like
why,
a
dude?
common thing that any metalhead will
Like,
hear.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, sad but true." I'm like, "Yeah, we have not a lot to talk
You're
about."
like, Ride the Lightning came out in 81.
Right?
I'm done
Yeah,
with
I'm like,
them.
Ride
It's
the
over.
Lightning. I liked half of Master of Puppets,
Yeah.
and then I was done.
Kill 'Em All was their best album, and it was the first one. So
I would go with Ride the Lightning, but
I like Ride the Lightning.
it's
but
like every now and then. Sometimes I'm like, maybe it is Kill 'Em All, maybe it is Ride the Lightning. I don't know.
Sure.
I go back and forth because they're both
Depends
so
on
good.
your mood.
Yeah. So we're doing Metallica Icon, and they're like, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not," because the bands that they have doing it, it's Korn and Snoop Dogg and the fucking who was the chick that did Skater Girl?
Avril Lavigne.
Avril Lavigne. These are the people that I'm like, where's Anthrax? Where's Exodus? Where are the bands that they played with?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, and it's not going to be about that. And I was already in trouble with Lars because they came to my house to
I
do
want to
an
hear that later.
Did you call him a cunt over the Napster thing?
No, they came to my house to do an episode of Cribs. So like I have a Cribs. You want to look up some funny
You're
shit.
on Cribs?
Go to Amazon and look up Cribs Rock. You will see the worst picture of me in the world on the cover of the DVD. It's hysterical.
You were on Cribs?
I was on Cribs because when I had MTV money and I lived in a cheap apartment in New York, I had a toy collection that was like in magazines. It was fucking massive.
Whoa, I want to hear about this.
And I sold 90% of it when I lost the MTV job because I didn't have two nickels to rub together.
Gotcha.
But if you go Cribs Rock,
We'll talk about that later.
not that Cribs Rock, MTV Cribs Rock.
That's just a crib.
Yeah.
That's just a
I
baby's
didn't
crib.
want to thought that either, but
Is this a joke?
boom,
That's you right there.
That's you?
that's me.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Dude,
Whoa.
$7.97.
Oh yeah, it's a fucking high seller. Let me tell you about it. So anyway, they came over to do Cribs Rock, and at one point they showed the Metallica McFarlane figures that I had, and I had Kirk, and I had Jason, and I had fucking James, and just to be a joke, I was like, people often ask me if I left Lars out on purpose. Yes, I did. And so someone got back to Lars. So Lars decided to insult me on the radio. And I was like, oh, he wants to make it real. That's cool. So when people ask me about it, I'd go, Lars is pissed off because he's been playing the same songs for 25 years and still can't keep time.
God.
Like, at all.
Damn.
And then you beat his ass.
And then Lars was like, we don't want this guy being part of MTV Icon. I was like, not a fucking problem. What am I going to do? Go out there and be like, this is so metal. So MTV, look how metal Avril Lavigne is. Yay. So MTV finally got them to agree to let me on it. And they came to me and were basically like, you have two choices. You can stop making an embarrassingly disgusting amount of money doing nothing, or you can go do Metallic Icon. I was like, all right, I'll go do it, I guess. And they had this thing where I would just I was interviewing kids that were into them, so it wasn't that bad. Like I didn't have to be up there with Fieldy or any of those guys. So I show up for the rehearsal, and much to my dismay, Korn is dismantling One. And the funny part about that is that record has no bass on it. I was like, this is the first time that's a good thing because Fieldy's bass playing sucks. So why have bass in the song at all? So I'm standing there and all of a sudden I hear, yo, it's our #1 fan. And I was like, I know that voice. I know that voice. And I turn and it's fucking Asshead and the little midget guy some little guy that was playing guitar with them at that point, or was a friend of his, whatever. And he's like, what the fuck? Why are you talking shit? And I was like, I'm not talking shit, Fred. I don't know what you're talking about.
They were getting in your
Then-
face?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's him and
Little guy.
and then Lethal. And Lethal's behind two other people being like, we'll kick your ass. I'm like, you're behind two fucking other people. I'm by myself.
Wes
Fuck
Borland?
you. No, Wes was out of the band at this point.
Okay.
Wes had been like,
crazy constant.
Wes was like, I'm fucking
Sam
done.
Rivers, John Otto.
Might have been John Otto.
They're drinking like Monster Energy drink.
No, that was it. The drummer. It was the drummer. Because he's little, tiny man. And so
Look how
they're
small he is in the drum set.
yeah.
Oh, just a little
so he
fella.
looks-
They've got me pinned up against the wall, and they're like fucking. And I was finally like, dude, I was like, are we gonna do this? Like, this is boring me.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's step outside. And I was like, okay. So I went outside, and I was like, I thought it was between me and him, and it's me and him, and of course, his giant Samoan bodyguard. I was like, fucking. I was like, what's that guy? He's like, no, he just has to stand with me. I was like, uh-huh. So he starts going to this whole diatribe. He's like, you fucking talk shit. And I was like, no, I don't. He's
Speak
like, you
facts.
talk shit. And I was like, I don't talk shit. Talking shit means you don't want it to get back to the person. I say what I say in front of millions of people. I'm pretty sure you're going to fucking know what I have to say. And he's like, why do you fucking hate my band? And I was like, because you suck and you're a bully. You come out here and you use what little power you have in this infinitesimally shitty band that you're in to bully people around. You're a fucking asshole. Yeah. And
so he wasn't being violent with you at all at this particular moment?
He's in my face and he keeps talking about how he's
portraying an image that he's a tough guy.
And I think what he thought, if I reflect on it, was he was going to say all this tough guy shit to me, and I was going to be like, Mr. Durst, I'm sorry. And when I didn't, he didn't have a plan B. He was like,
you were some corporate MTV dude that was just like there for a paycheck.
Or it's not even that. I've been beaten up by way worse than him. Like, he could have been a fucking, a black belt MMA guy and taken me out in a second. It wasn't that I was tougher than him. I've just been beaten up by bigger, and I'm certainly not going to cry
back down to fucking
Fred Durst. So I was like, I don't intimidate.
And also, you're not going to back down on your opinion. Like, your opinion's your
he's
opinion.
like, and I'm like, why? I was like, dude, you need to ask yourself a question. He's like, what? I was like, why does this bother you so much? I was like, you're a billionaire and you like sleep with supermodels and everybody loves your band. Why are you so insecure that you're worried about what I have to say? And he didn't really have an answer to that. I was like, you see that guy? And I pointed over, the Linkin Park dudes were there. I was like, I make fun of Linkin Park constantly. I called them Tonka's My First Metal Band. I called them In Sync with Guitars. I made fun of, and those guys were, first time I interviewed them, we're sitting there and it's really uncomfortable. And the singer goes, my favorite was Tonka's My First Metal Band. And the rap guy goes, nope, In Sync with Guitars. And I was like, oh shit, these guys are fucking funny. And it was totally fine and
super
cool. And they were super cool dudes.
Chester
I was
died,
actually
too.
bummed that Chester died. We talked about
crazy.
books and stuff.
Rest in peace.
Very good, very, very cool dude. Could not stand their band and never will, but nice guy. So finally I was like, all right, Fred, I'm tired of this. Are you going to hit me? Is that what's happening here? And he was like, no, I'm not going to hit you. I was like, then this conversation is over.
You should spit in
like,
his
if we're
face.
not, no, I was like, I'm not going to fight you because I don't know how tough you are. But if you're not going to hit me, I'm not going to stand here and exchange. This is boring.
Yeah, you get nothing out of this.
And then I left. And then the best was later on, he was like, I want to call a truce. I was like, what are we, fucking 12?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Don't
you're going to
talk
call
bad
a truce?
about me anymore.
So I was like, yeah, all right, dude, whatever, fine. And he walked away, and then I saw him later at a radio thing. He's like, yo, what's up, Ian? And I just walked past him. I was like, no.
Try to fist
I was like,
bump
just
you.
because we don't have beef does not mean we're boys.
Don't
so
try to act
fuck
like we're
off.
fucking
So
cool.
how does
Spit at his
it
feet.
feel to know now that he's like universally hated by anyone?
He's
with
got to
you?
be
it's an
vindicated,
Oko, bro.
right?
It makes me angry only because when he came out, I was like, this guy is not talented.
Yeah.
This guy is a bully. He's a shitheel. And everybody at MTV, like, I pretty much got fired because I would not shut up about him, and there's some other things.
Let it die, man.
Yeah, and they wouldn't let it go. And the fact that he's like that, I was like,
So you got fired over the Limp Bizkit
No. I
situation?
got fired because there was a girl who worked there. Her name was Suchin Pak. And
Shout out.
one time she said to me, I have a degree in journalism, or I'm a journalism major, or something about the fact that she studied journalism, and they always kind of dressed me like a hooker. And one day she was on the studio, I was looking up in the monitor, and I was like, man, they really do dress her like an Asian hooker. And that's all I said. Now, for somehow, that got twisted into, I sat there starting to sing "Oh Me So Horny, Me Love You Long Time," which which didn't happen at all.
Escalated.
Yeah, and then
And they didn't have recording you saying it or anything?
No.
But
I was in a dressing room with one other person.
They
and
just blew it out of proportion.
Dude, told on
essentially
you?
from what her friend said that she heard me saying it, and Suchin, which I understand kind of, used it as a chip to try to, I might leave, because this is the unsafe work environment. And she was trying to renegotiate her contract.
Right.
And MTV was like, from what I understand, I don't know any of this to be gospel. I was fucking gone. From what I understand, and I could be wrong, but if what I understand, they were like, we got him. We can hold him. We can put his feet to the fire. We can make him say what we want to say, wear what we want to. We can make him do everything we want him to do because he's going to lose his job because we got him because he fucked up. Because they did. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have
so
said.
They used it as ammo against you. That's fucking crazy.
There was a guy there who was the head of it named Tom Freston. He was like the king of all of Viacom. And he had been dragged through the ripper so many times about these kinds of cases that he noticed, because they suspended me for a month, and he noticed that their top ratings guy wasn't on the channel, and he asked them, and they told him what happened, and they're like, but we've got it under control. And from what I understand, Freston was like, fire it. And so they called me in, they're like, you're fired. And I was like, cool. The thing that made me mad was not they fired me, because I could tell you a million stories of how they hung me out to dry, but I gave them a bunch of rope and was like, what do you want to do with this? Like, I put a lot of it on myself
Yeah.
because I was so busy being punk rock and I was going to show the man and all that nonsense. I was a kid when this happened. I was 27 or 28. I mean, it's literally like it's a cliche. I got a lot of money. I got a lot of people telling me that everything I did was brilliant, so I acted like a fucking asshole. So a lot of it I brought on myself, and that's something that, you know, you get one shot. I blew it, and that's just the way that goes.
But you did it.
But the problem that I did have was that when they let me go, they put on the guys like Ian's leaving to follow other things, and they didn't make a big deal about it. And then they circulated a secret memo that I actually saw that said that any subsidiary of Viacom could not hire me for any reason. And Viacom,
they fucking blacklisted you?
yeah, and that killed
That's
my career.
fucked up.
So 6 months after I was on MTV earning six figures and being in front of television, I was working at Whole Foods on a loading dock because I couldn't get another job.
God,
I know that
damn.
sucks dick, but 20 years later, after Viacom shits the bed, MTV is the 16 and pregnant TV show.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just-
stupid as
You know,
fuck.
nothing
garbage.
music related
How much?
anymore.
How happy are you
But
that you? Like,
you
I don't
also
know.
did it though. How often? Who the fuck can say
Oh
they
yeah,
did
no,
that shit?
it took me a long time to come to peace with that because I was so full of vitriol. The hardest thing to ever admit when you fuck up a shot like that is that you fucked it up. And yeah, they didn't help because, you know, they saw what I did on Monkey Butt Sex and they're like, that's amazing. We're hiring you. Now don't do any of it ever.
Yeah.
And so that was a hard hustle for me. But I could have played it smarter. I could have been such a wonderful person to work with that when this shit came down, everybody that I worked with could have been like, yo, that's not Ian. Ian's dope. Like, Ian says dumb shit in front of the camera to get a rise out of people. But when and he works and whatever. And I didn't. I turned into a fucking prima donna. I stomped my feet. I got mad. I was so self-righteous. Everybody's music taste sucked. I knew everything. That eventually people were like, you know what? Fuck this kid. Get him out of here. And so once I came to sort of peace with the fact that I did it to myself, then I was able to enjoy the fact that, yeah, I did it. Like, I've got stories that I can dine out on for the rest of my life just on being on MTV.
But it's not even that. You've got all kinds of things that you can do now. I mean, you're doing the podcast now. I mean, you've done a million other things in between that. The MTV thing's only notable because people know MTV from forever.
And that's cool. And the other thing I know is that, you know, very few people meet famous people or ex-famous people or whatever you want to call it in a weird position. Like, when I meet people, it's usually really bizarre. Like the people that I work with now in my new job, they're all like, you were on television. Why are you doing payroll for? Like, they don't understand. To see somebody that they remember from TV in the confines of a normal life. But it's not that they're saying about the job. It's more like my brain can't wrap around the fact that I'm seeing someone who's here in a situation that's very, very normal. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, it's like the idea that you think that once somebody becomes famous, they stay that way forever. And then, like, you'll hear about some actress that you knew from a movie who's, like, working at a Starbucks because she never could get it together. And you're like, wow. It's like when you were a kid and you would see your teacher outside of school and you'd be like, whoa, you exist outside of school? No way. It's that kind of vibe.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, which is cool, and I get that. I used to be real, that's the reason I say that text. I used to be real tight-lipped about it, and I didn't want to talk about it because and all this stuff. And now I'll tell anybody anything they want to know.
I mean, we don't want to harp on it or anything because my whole thing is
I don't care.
That shit is your past, and I would hate it if I had some, like, job that for whatever reason in my early days in life stood out, and then I'm doing this cool shit right now, and then all's the only thing that anybody ever wants to talk to me about is like, that's why when I sent you that message I was like, we actually only have MTV questions because it was just funny to me. Like,
I like that. I was like, all right, that was funny.
Like, it's like, yeah, of course. Like, you're doing cool shit now. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm sure there's stories here. That's what I want to talk about. I mean, that's not the reason to talk to you.
Courtney Love hated me.
Good. Fuck that bitch.
I'm trying to think. Courtney Love hated me. What's it guy? The drummer from Motley Crue got mad at me because I referred to what was the chick, the blonde chick from Baywatch?
Pamela Anderson.
I referred to Pamela Anderson as his wife and sparring partner, and he got real fucking mad.
Beat the fuck out of her.
But he got.
What's he gonna say?
I was like, that guy's he's huge. He's got a long reach. He might kill me.
And he's got a fat old dick. What if he just moved to
just
the left
slapped
and
me in
just
the face with his
took you out with his cock?
Pat, was that his? Please let that.
Like, oh God,
How
just
did you
hepatitis
feel
in my eye.
How did you feel though about catching him a few years on MTV, looking like a complete idiot trying to go to college?
He was trying to go to college.
There's
did?
an old
this at all.
there's
What are
an
you talking
old
about?
MTV show where Tommy Lee goes to college.
That must have been after me.
And he's
like
he's just this
105
big
years
idiot.
old.
I thought you were talking about when he tried to do a rap metal band. That was awesome.
That show was great.
I was like, what a great band you have now.
Can we hear a bit of it? Because I have no idea what you're
Oh
talking
my god,
about.
he had one called like Get Naked, and
Get
it's like
Naked Tommy Lee.
it's staggering. Like you would if he was kidding, it would be like Monty Python levels of greatness. But he's serious, so it's terrifying. There we go.
Oh,
Featuring Little Kim.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thanks, you owe me a blowjob, Pat.
Just took off my clothes and I had to do it.
Finally today in Los Angeles, Methods of Man was ready to shoot their
This is
first
it?
video on 4K.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get taken
Oh,
off
yeah,
YouTube
Fred
by
Durst.
playing this?
I don't think so. Fred Durst is.
That's Fred Durst.
oh, he's the rapper too.
Oh yeah.
My jizzy jism, he says. We have to talk over this, otherwise we'll get taken off YouTube. By the way.
Oh really?
Well, we're not monetized anyway.
Yeah, not like we're losing it.
Yeah,
Well, I
if
mean-
we were
Yeah.
monetized, it would be one thing.
I mean, you basically like when Fred Durst is the best rapper on your track, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, he's a douche nozzle.
Oh my
right.
god.
And Little Kim would do anything for a buck. Like she's
That's
like,
a fact.
Anyway, so he was a rap guy, and for a while, like he had braided his hair, and he was on Ozfest with this band. Now it just calls it Tommy Lee featuring. Before it was like they had an actual band name. I
What the
forget what
fuck?
it was. And so he did that for a while. He was on because they used to send me to do Ozfest, and he did Ozfest, and I was like, okay, I
bad.
guess.
that first comment's pretty funny.
Lil Kim's career died when Biggie was shot.
Well, yeah, she didn't have much of a career without him.
She was just Biggie's wife. I mean,
Yeah,
what
and
is
then
there?
she was-
You know who I was shocked to see back from the MTV days was Missy Elliott. Were you
Yeah.
shocked to see her come back a little bit at that Super Bowl?
I was happy for her because I met her at the Grammys. And first of all, she's super nice, and I always thought she was super talented.
Yeah.
And then I just think that,
what happened to her?
well, I mean,
She vanished.
Well, not only that, but hip hop, as far as I'm concerned, the entire genre of hip hop died in a plane crash in '98, and like except for a few underground. Thank you.
damn it.
There's a few underground guys that I like now.
Yeah.
Vinny Paz, Esoteric, Czarface, some of those guys, or Czarhead. Some of those guys are really good, and I really like and admire what they do. But as far as like a cultural shift of the music, it just became it's a joke. Like now it's
Yeah.
like here's a dope beat, and then some guy going no, rent all and I'm like, yeah, that's not rap. That's fucking. So when you lose any kind of sort of intellect or motivation to be creative, and you're just monetizing yourself by calling yourself 2 Chainz. I was like, ooh, that's creative. And that's all you're doing mumble rap, which is like, I can't rap, so I'll mumble and people will be into it because they're that high or whatever.
It's weird that that's where
You
music's
can't-
going.
Right, but like you can't, how do you then turn around and present them something like Public Enemy or even Missy Elliott, which is a lot more party oriented, that takes way too much thought.
Yeah.
And it's way too much appreciation of a style. And
It's
and plus she was up until the chick who came out, my wife loves this
Megan
woman.
Thee Stallion.
No, what's her name? She's a very plus sized
Lizzo.
Lizzo.
That
yeah.
bitch sucks.
I don't know.
I don't know.
My wife
I've
loves
never
her.
listened
My
to music
girlfriend
and I don't
likes
give a
her.
shit
I don't
about
know.
the beat.
People
Yeah,
like her.
my
whatever.
wife loves her. I don't care, but she came back and sort of brought back the plus sized woman, and so
Why was that a big deal?
yeah, well, that's I
Such
mean
a
that's
stupid
it's
thing.
a TV thing. I mean, MTV was after
such
me.
stupid.
MTV
It's
was after me to
2020.
lose weight the whole time I was there, and I was like, okay, So that's just how television is. Like it's this. They're selling something.
Sex.
They're selling. Well, not only that, but they're selling like a "Don't you want to be this?"
Yeah, there's no.
And so, do I want to be a fat woman? Not really.
I don't think there's.
But do I want to be beautiful? Like that kind of stuff.
I don't think there's any appreciation for the craft at all anymore. It's because everything is so. You can be recognized for anything on the internet at any point.
Yeah.
So like who was, I think it was Lil Yachty, the face of mumble rap. He got big because of fucking SoundCloud.
Is that the guy that's got all the color shit in his hair that's going
Yeah.
to jail?
That's
For,
That's with like stuff with Kanye
but like
and shit.
but like you can't show these kids. Look at what Wu-Tang, look at what Mobb Deep,
No,
look at
you're-
what
you're
Tupac
thinking
and Biggie and all of them did. Like they sat down, they tried to lyrically outmatch the friends around them that they shared
Well,
a
it
track
was
with.
it was
there
a
was
craft.
like depths
You're
and
thinking of
levels,
6ix9ine.
syllables
Oh,
and
okay.
whatnot. And now it's just like they get one beat from a guy who's known pretty well, and then they'll Percocet, purple drink, Xanax, and here's $1 million. Why would I ever put any thought into music if I can just say purple drink, Xanax?
And that's the thing is like once you make your
dick and get
once you make your audience stupid, then it's the same thing with metal or like you listen to old punk rock, which is still relevant now. People still love Black Flag. People still love Minor Threat. People still love the Misfits. Yeah. People still worship fucking the Stooges. I mean, they still worship these bands. And then you look at
Operation Ivy at work like every day.
Yeah, and then you look at a band like Blink-182 or something like that. Not super talented, very easy to digest, and people remember them, but they're not.
The Transplants are
it's
cool,
a catchiness.
Though. And I mean, Travis Barker did the
Travis Barker's a phenomenal drummer. It just they don't have the same kind of impact. It's kind of like when some girl breaks your heart and you eat 9 pounds of fucking Cheetos. It's like it makes you feel better in the moment, but there's no nutrition to it. It's not anything you're gonna continuously eat a lot of all the time. And so hip hop has just sort of become a cultural shift of the dumber you are, the better you are, and I just don't understand.
There's also some really good, original, smart, and intelligent rap out there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a diamond in a dozen, though.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing is that the internet has also taken away. Like one of my favorite things. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, you're fine.
Okay. One of my favorite things in the world ever when I was a kid, and this is how I created a knowledge of music and a record collection. Is band would come out. And we would look through their thank yous and see who they thanked, and then we would go buy their records. Or we would see what T-shirts they were wearing, or like with Jeff Hanneman and the sticker, we would see, oh man, they've got that sticker. I've never heard that band. Let's go listen to them. And there was a certain amount of searching, and you would buy and you would listen, and through osmosis, you became really good at picking out quality. But with the internet, all you have to do is go, I like
this beat.
Little Yachty. And they'll be like, hello, this is 400 people who sound like Little Yachty. So the idea of these kids having to go out and search for people who are like, no, let's bring back a craft in hip-hop, of which you are right. There are a lot of them out there. Jamie is super into hip-hop still, and he will throw people at me all the time. Some of it I don't like because it's just not my vibe, but it's all...
for sure.
They're talented
it's
guys.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Or it's just not, I mean, it just isn't for me. But then he was a guy that introduced me to Vinny Paz, and I was like, holy shit, I fucking love this guy. And so, but it takes a certain amount of desire to dig through the crates and dig through the shit to find a diamond. And why do that when you hear this one song you like and this computer will create you a playlist out, like old country. I love old country. Modern country, I don't even understand it. Like I can't.
It's rap country now.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like there's this machine that takes all of these tropes of supposed country life and just spits out these songs at the same pentameter.
It's not like Waylon Jennings. It's not like Willie Nelson.
It's not
like
a bunch of
Johnny
guys
Cash.
who are like, hey, my life sucks. I'm going to sing about it in a white blues fashion. It's a
snare beat
here's
with
a
some
thing.
twang.
Yeah, it's like the Lenny Kravitz.
There is a Sturgill Simpson that like he used to work in fucking train yards and stuff like that, and he's the exception to that rule.
Sure,
But
they're
I
always
absolutely agree
that
with
was
you.
my next thing. Is like I loathe modern country with a fiery passion of 1,000 songs.
However, Hank the Third. I mean,
people have played me. People who are part of what are considered modern country because they're newer artists who are in that genre, and I don't consider them I'm like this is really good. Same thing with hip hop, but finding it is really hard, and because nobody wants to find it, it's harder for them to make a living doing it. It's just this horrible snake that eats its tail.
My secret to finding good hip hop is like listening to the interviews with the shitty ones, like on Vlad TV or Sway in the Morning or anything like that.
Vlad
as
TV.
Soon as I do too. As
It's
soon
like
as I
People
see
magazine for
like,
hip hop. It's fucking phenomenal.
It really is good. However, fuck Vlad though.
I don't have any allegiance to him, and most of the time
that dude is just trying to get people in prison. I feel like sometimes.
Most of the time I scan through his shit. I'm like, I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. I don't know that guy. But every time I'm like, oh shit, I know that guy, and then there'll be some funny interview
after this
break
time.
Okay, but I watch those interviews and those shows to watch the shitty people get mad at the people that they call old heads or the ones
heads?
or the ones they
Stupid.
consider shitty, and like, oh, I haven't heard this person. I'll look them up. 8 times out of 10, those people that they're talking shit on are lyrically skilled, really good, and I turn into them.
Yeah.
Like I really I discovered Joey Badass like 2 years ago that way.
I think
and
Jamie
I
loves that dude.
Love
Joey Badass is amazing.
Joey Badass has such a 90s East Side type of feel to his flow. It's incredible.
Earth Gang, you got to get on that.
Earth
shit.
Gang's power.
Quality.
If you
Earth
want to
Gang
check
is
out
awesome.
real good modern hip hop, check out Dreamville. It's a
Dreamville.
bunch
Not
of
hip to them.
DJs, and they have like
I don't
30
know about
different.
that.
Dreamville is like a group of DJs, and they have signed on like 30 different other artists who are R&B singers, soul, or hip hop, and then they'll like just mash like we're gonna grab this guy, and this girl.
Make a
and then-
song.
Yeah, they're making a song.
That's pretty cool.
And every
It
song
doesn't
on
sound like it'd be a
Dreamville.
hit every time though.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but
There was a
every
band
song
that-
on Dreamville, it's different with different people featured, and I love.
There was a
everything
band that
on
used to do that. They didn't do it for very long. They didn't stay popular very long, but they were called the Brand New Heavies. And they've got one record out. I forget what it's called, but it's got an orange cover, and there's a whole bunch of hip hop dudes in it with them playing the music, and it's fucking killer. It's the same type of vibe that you're talking about.
That's pretty cool. Let's go to break real quick.
Okay.
We'll be right
Sorry,
back
I've been
after
holding
this,
a
folks.
piss
This has been a fucking solid conversation.
I hate to
so
turn
far.
this conversation
Loving
off
it,
at this
dude.
point.
That's
I mean,
all right.
We'll be back. Don't
Let's
worry
make a really
about
quick
it, dude.
break. Quick break.
Come
Yeah.
back with some ad reads.
Piss and shits. We'll be back.
Some ad reads. Nice. You guys have ads?
We do.
Fucking dude, I'm so
All right,
jealous of
fuck
you.
faces, we're back. This show and this episode, as all episodes, is sponsored by the amazing, the talented, the incredible, the big dick wizard himself, Anthony Tank Mansfield. Daddy! If you want to check out his amazing line of glassware, t-shirts, enamel pins, all the shit that he has to offer artistically, including custom-made fucking art that you can get starting at $30 and all the way up for what kind of shit that you could commission him for, check out kneeltonoone.com. That's KNEELTONOONE.com. Just look that up. He doesn't even really care about that, though. What he wants us to tell you is that there is this cool place that you can go to, 6 Bomb Boards. It's an event that he hosts at a bunch of different places, gas stations, the White Oak Marathon, different fucking like bars, different like venues that'll let you have.
Under bridges.
Yeah, you just go underneath a bridge. They're out there. No, definitely not. But you go out there. Eamon Hill, Jamie Filer, the other half of the Cream podcast with Ian, is always doing shit up there. And you can go and paint stuff based on like.
I gotta go
do you have
there.
the
I need to
dates?
go.
Do you have the dates pulled up? Because my phone is dying.
I know
right now.
Kaylin's been doing some 6 Bomb Boards with them recently, man.
They do it on Thursdays.
Yeah, they popped up. They did one over at Carrican right down the street from my work. I don't have the dates in front of me. My phone's dying.
Hit
but,
him up. He'll
just
tell
look
you
him
all
up.
the details.
Look up 6 Bomb Boards. Kneel to No One, you'll find all that
I'm
shit.
cheering Anthony Tank
Cheers!
Mansfield.
I'm so.
Cheers.
Let's all
I'm
fucking
Tank.
cheers.
I'm cheering him. Thank you
He's
so
the
much
man.
this past week, Tank. I'm officially making you my OG.
I feel like I'm his student.
You're my mentor,
know?
bro.
You can
Like
see
he
him
was
up-
a teacher, but he wasn't my teacher. But I
Sure.
met him and I became.
He's
his
my
student.
life teacher.
He's daddy.
He's
Let's
Daddy
be real.
Tank.
Daddy Tank. Oh, I
Tank.
like that. That's a new shirt, dude. That's a bastard sermon shirt
There you
idea.
go.
I'm not wearing
When
it.
we have like
I will,
fuck you
with
merch
pride.
money, we can make merch of whatever we want type
Yeah.
of money, then we'll do a fucking Daddy Mansfield
I'm
shirt.
gonna write that down.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Next read is Scarlet Smoke, Scarlet Vape and Smoke Shop. Scarlet Vape and Smoke Shop has a great selection of CBD, vape, and heady glass from some talented, very talented local artists. The
Good
owners,
shit.
Alex and Zach, are big supporters of our podcast, so they're giving all our listeners 10% off every time you visit. Just mention that you're a Bastard Sermon podcast listener at the register, and they'll hook you up. They have 2 locations. One on Monmouth Street in Newport, Kentucky, 937 Monmouth Street, Newport 41071, and 11424 Montgomery Road, Cincinnati 45249. To learn more, you can just check out their awesome website. You can check out their Instagram, like them on Facebook. I mean, truly, guys, they have the most quality stuff.
It's so dude. It's actually like really good prices compared to like any other smoke shop around here. And I know we're just giving off ads, but I'm fucking standing by this.
Yeah.
This is where I go to shop for anything. They have good prices. You get that 10% off. These dudes are good dudes. They're hardworking guys. They'll talk to you about anything. Go over there. Tell them you're a fucking bastard. The guys may be like, what do you mean you're a bastard? You'd be like, oh, the bastard sermon, bro. Oh, 10% off. You got it.
Scarlet Vape and Smoke on Instagram as well if you want to follow them there.
Definitely go check them out. Okay, so next sponsor, Clifton Barbers. You want to get a badass haircut by some badass motherfuckers? You want to go to this place. There's a ton of great people that are working there. It's at 337 Ludlow Avenue. Their Instagram and Facebook is at Clifton Barbers. If you go to that Instagram, you get all the links to the personal accounts of all the cool people there. They take a lot of really cool photos. You want to go there. They're going to give you a good style. It's for people that are, alternative. You're going to feel alternative when you go there. Be sure to go get a haircut.
I stopped in there today. Everybody in there has got a neck tattoo. It's a real relaxed environment.
Yeah.
Cash only spot. I don't know.
Walk-ins only. No appointments needed. You just go in Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. or Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and they'll hook you up, man. Seriously, good dudes, professional. You're gonna get a real barber experience there, and you always want that.
Shade strave or shade razor? What am I trying
Straight
to say?
razor?
Straight razor.
Spit it out.
I allegedly smoked too much
Idiot.
weed before this podcast started.
But
now here we are.
Yeah, I think they do beard shaves too, for sure. I think they do it any like it's just like a
Do they
really
sharpen it
really
in front
they
of
go
you
deep
on,
on
like,
the
a big
barber
piece of leather
shit.
and shit like that? Like I would love
I
that.
totally could picture that. Go ask
Go up
Cody
there,
Best.
go up there and ask Cody Best if he'll break out an 1850s straight razor shave kit and just start sharpening a knife in front of you. And there's people lined up. I came in there today. They're just in there cutting hair in front of an audience. Like there's a fucking wood bench. They're all just sitting in there like on their phones, whatever, reading the news, and they're just cutting hair. What if Cody Best just broke out an 1850 shave kit and just started sharpening a fucking straight razor right there in front
I
of that
trust
whole
this
audience?
man to shave my neck.
Oh,
I
that'd
trust
be
it.
fantastic. See if
That's
you can
what
pay
I
extra
would
for
see.
that.
I don't even think you
What
have
does Cody
to.
look like?
He's the man. Why don't you go to the Clifton Barbers Instagram and there's links to the personal accounts, bro?
No, the only reason I ask is I think if it's the same dude I'm thinking of, I think he lived with or still lives with a buddy of mine that worked at Apple.
Possibly.
But I have to see what
Possibly.
he looks like. He's a pretty motherfucker. So
He'll be on the
I'm
show.
thinking
He
of-
is
soon.
definitely a pretty motherfucker.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Pat's internet is the best. So
No, you just don't know how to type, dude.
yeah, this is typing that's doing this right now. It's not the shitty, terrible internet that isn't loading the.
You're
dudes.
misspelling. If those that are listening, he's misspelling everything that he's
You
typing. in.
can't even hear the keyboard going, my friend.
But they take a lot of professional photos and shit there too. So if you go there, you're gonna get a quality photo of your new do, so you can post that shit to Instagram and
think
get
that's
all
it.
them
I don't know.
likes.
I think that's him. I don't know. I'd have to text my buddy. Just that
You would
he's-
never forget him if you saw him.
Yeah, I think I don't. I'm not. I'm very different with that. I forget people pretty quick, but it might be him. Anyway, so
All right.
yeah, cool,
So,
awesome. They
yeah.
all three of your sponsors. Well, Tank clearly, but all three of your sponsors seem tremendous.
They are tremendous.
Two other things that we want to go into before we get into the show. Dark Mountain Cult. That is my new art page. I just want to shout that out real quick. I do geometric Sharpie designs of pop culture or whatever you want. I also sell T-shirts as well with designs on them. Just come out our Instagram or check out me and Rachel's Instagram, Dark Mountain Cult. You get to see the cool shit that's there. I just did a cool Death Stranding piece today. And like I said, I got shirts too. If you want to go check it out.
He makes Death Stranding look good. He makes it look interesting.
It definitely it was a fun one. But yeah, I do commissions anytime. If you like what you see, just hit me up. I'll get you a digital copy of it too.
You're doing quality shirts right now, quality designs, like everything.
Hey,
that you're
it's
putting out
fucking
right now is
March
really nice.
3rd. Go get a print. Buy a print of that Metal Gear.
Also-
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If you play Metal Gear, you know how important March 3rd
Metal
is.
Gear can't be.
Hell yeah, check out Dark
Definitely check that out.
Mountain Cold.
Thanks.
Don't we have something else coming up? A little small little thing.
Oh,
I
I think
can't-
we have
it's a little
something
fuzzy.
coming up.
I don't know. My
little
vision's
fuzzy.
a little hazy.
Oh,
Smoke in the room. What is it, Luke?
It's the Bastard Fest.
Oh shit!
Oh!
Bastard
Bastard
Fest,
Fest.
Southgate House Revival. We got the poster in front of us right now. There's 10 bands. I mean, we got like, I don't know, 9 artists, 11. I don't know. There would be a million artists up there. I don't know. There are
Too much
100
talent.
fucking miss
Too
it.
much
180
talent.
million artists up there, and fucking doing the 6 bomb boards. Eamon Hill, Nick Lavin, Danny Gamble's gonna be up there.
Last but not
Some of the-
least, fucking Ian Robinson.
I will not be doing art, but I'll be talking a lot.
He'll
Cream
be talking
Podcast.
a whole lot.
Yes, we will.
Comics Rule Everything Around Me will be up there. The weekly hookup will be up there with Mark Borson. Just watched him do comedy recently.
Yep.
He did great. Fucking, we'll be up there. We'll be closing the show out. We got a great show planned for you. $10. You want to check this event out? I mean, we got food trucks. 3 p.m. to midnight at Southgate House Revival, April 18th.
It's perfect for both extroverted and introverted people. There's 2 different floors. If you don't like the fucking music and you don't want to be around the crowd that's fucking wild and out, which will be going from 3 to midnight, just go up fucking stairs and there's like a whole like little mini convention of a bunch of cool shit.
If you're one of those,
calm and chill.
If you're one of those people that you like both, I mean, we staggered the event pretty well to where like when bands are going on, podcasts will be kind of breaking down and setting up, so you'll be able to like traverse the whole thing and get to feel out the whole experience. Like,
yeah,
you
it's a
can
good
see
time.
A little piece of everybody performing that night if you wanted to.
Oh no, I just saw Gigi the Giant. That's my boy from Apple. I worked with that guy.
Oh hell yeah, we had him on the show.
Gigi's the man. He slapped the shit out of Cody
I
here.
let him slap me 3 times.
He let him, he says.
Yeah, he didn't
I
let him.
stood up and took my hat and headphones off and let him smack me.
Yeah, no, I've known.
Please don't hurt me, Gigi.
Yeah, I've known Greg. I worked at Apple 6 years. Me and him became friends pretty right away, and he would play me his stuff. He's really good.
Yeah, he's cool as fuck.
That's great.
Oh, so you worked at Apple and you know Gigi? Do you know Katie?
Katie.
Pyle?
There's a couple. Yeah.
Shout
I know
out.
Katie. Yeah,
Shout out,
yeah,
Katie.
Yeah. She's funny. She's always in a bad mood. I like that about her.
That's so I've never once known her to be in a bad mood. That's crazy.
Apple can do that to you.
And all these people that they're talking about right now are probably going to be at that show.
Yeah, man.
So you get to
Katie-
talk to them about these things that we're talking about right now.
It'll be like you're a part of the show, but
Yeah,
not
you
really.
know
Don't
them.
ever forget that. You're
I could
not
always-
a part of us.
I could always tell
You're
that
by yourself.
you're alone in the world. I could always tell that Katie was going to Disney because she would be smiling. I'd be like, "You're going to Disney, aren't you?" Other than that,
Yeah.
she was always like,
She goes there like every 2-3 months,
she
dude.
fucking loves it.
She's
I
got
told
best
her-
friend
place
down
is
there.
the shit,
I told
though.
her I went once, and she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I don't have a lot to do with the happiest place on earth. Like, it's just not for me."
Yeah.
But I do want to go down to see the Star Wars thing.
Yeah,
Like,
same, dude.
Let's get into that real
same.
quick, but be sure to be at Bastard Fest
Sorry.
at
Buy your
Southgate
tickets.
House Revival. Go to any one of our Facebooks and you'll see the ticket link, or just go to the event page and you can go there. And just come on out, have fun, let's talk, let's be weird, smoke all your weed allegedly with Luke.
You know what?
Saturday, April 18th.
With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and announce that little contest that I was trying to work
You
on.
want to get into that right away?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
do it.
do
Let's set
this
up.
contest.
Okay, so listeners of the Bastard Sermon, if you're listening this far, you've gotten to the ad reads. Odds are you're an active participant of the Facebook.
You somewhat care.
group, the Bastard Sermon podcast group. If not, go ahead and fucking join. So I'm gonna do a little giveaway. If you can send us the most fucked up video or meme, it can be anything, something
Please not
that we
snuff film.
typically please no stuff film,
Please
but
no snuff
typically
films.
something that we usually review on the show. Oh, I'm gonna pick out with the other two, Cody and Patrick. We're gonna pick out the best of the best meme or best video, whatever. And the winner's going to get a ticket to the Bastard Fest. You're also going to get one of your choice T-shirt or hoodie of the new merch that's coming out.
Oh, yeah, it looks good.
And if you want, I'll touch your butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, just go ahead and send in your submissions. Post the meme and tag me in it, or put in hashtag Bastard Giveaway so I know it's a part of it. And we'll announce the winner in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, and if you can't post it on our Facebook group and like it's too fucked up and it might take down the whole group kind of thing, just send us a personal message of the link.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
the
that would be
bastardsermon at
good.
gmail.com. Email that shit over there. We'll
You can
check
also
all
do
of
it there.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to pick out, how many are there? 2 winners? What is it?
We'll do just the one.
Do 1 winner. All right.
Oh. The other thing is you get to call in. You'll get to call in on an actual episode on a recording night, and you can ask us or the guest a question or two.
And if we Skype you
like
in,
that.
I'll play a shit porn. Just
Yeah,
for
you can
shits and
request us
giggles.
to do whatever. Let's do that.
Yeah, so go ahead.
With
do
a
that.
reason.
Hashtag Bastard Giveaway, or tag one of us to let us know it's a part of the giveaway.
Yeah.
All right,
Alright,
enough
let's
selling
do it.
shit, enough fucking hyping up ads.
Yeah, I'm
Jesus
sick
Christ.
of fucking blowing my ego
We
up,
were
dude.
already having this conversation, but we have to rehash it because it was such a good one. Ian, you were talking about before we got back on the mics getting fired for tattoos. Like, this is not
You got
something
fired
that
for
happens.
tattoos? What
Yeah.
fucking year was it?
Jesus, the year of our Lord, I think 1990
BC?
I could see that
91. It was a different. I was telling him, when
Different time.
first time I got a tattoo, I had to go to Jersey because they were illegal in New York, and so if you got them in New York, you had to go to either somebody's basement or whatever. And I would work for. Let's see. Well, actually, this is a little later than that because actually the most recent time I got fired from a job was 2004. 2005. I was living in Boston. I was working at a temp agency, and I had long sleeves, and I reached over, and my long sleeve shot up to about 3/4, and the guy was like, "Oh, you have tattoos?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then the woman who like runs the temp agency called, and they're like, "Yeah, they let you go. You can't have tattoos." And when I tried to get a job
bullshit.
at Starbucks, they were like, "Do you have tattoos?" They're like, "Yeah." Like, "No, we can't have tattoos or piercings." Now everybody there is tattooed and got all kinds of shit in their face. So I guess it's the times have changed. We were just talking about friends of mine always bitch and moan about the good old days this and the good old days that. And for me, I'm way stoked that the attitude's changed because
For sure.
with them on my hands, which was not the smartest move in my life. Like I don't regret any of my tattoos, but if I go back and be like, I want to chill out on the hands to give a little bit more of a reasonable understanding of the world around you, I would have been truly fucked. Like I'd be pumping gas right now. So I don't have a problem with it. It's very funny because people will come in and be like, "Oh, I got a tattoo," and they have this like rebellion thing in their voice. I'm like, there's really no rebellion left. Like if you like it and you like getting on your body, that's dope. But if you come at me with the rebellion angle, it's like, well, that's not really happening.
Dude, I
which
just
is fine.
like art,
Yeah,
you
me
know?
too.
And I just want to be
Like
covered in
I
it.
seriously don't still get them. Like this one I just got.
I was looking at that actually
The
earlier.
gorilla
That
on
looks
my
so
hands.
dick. That's so
I was
dope.
gonna get. I was like, I don't know if I want to get it, and then, sorry, I'm not. I don't have the mic close enough. I've never had anybody say we can't hear you. Most people are like, shut up, Dean. Stop talking so loud. I got this one actually done. I've been dying to
Gorilla.
get something big on my hands, but then, so this used to have MOZ for Moz for Morrissey, and then because I was a big Morrissey Smiths fan, and then Morrissey went off the fucking reservation and turned into some like weird like Republican psychopath.
Ugh.
I was like, gotta cover that up. So I did that one. But but I can do that now. I can be like, I'm going to do this, and then I can go work at my job and not worry about it. So, but yeah, they used to be. They were illegal in New York. They were illegal in most states because of the hepatitis breakout in the '70s, and
That's wild.
yeah, and I got fired. I mean, it was a different time. I don't hold it as better or worse than now. It's just different.
Yeah, we had this guy Dana Brunson. Do you know who he is? He's like a legendary tattoo artist from
designed
around
by
here.
Dana.
Yeah,
See,
he
I
came
only
on
know
the
him
show.
as Dana. He came on the show.
He came on the
Yeah.
show.
He
That's
came on with
fucking
Doc.
Sitting right where you were.
He's a legend. I love that guy.
There's a guy who
Changed
works,
my whole opinion on
Yeah, there's a guy
tattoos.
who works at that shop named Carter. He's the only guy that does my work here. He's done everything. He's done 1, 2, 3. He did the hand.
Yeah.
He's done like all my tattoo work here. And designed by Dana, even the guys that they're like, we just hired this guy, they're going to be super talented.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
that
Dana
shop
doesn't
is
fuck
quality.
around.
But
Yeah.
Dana
I really,
also-
really want to get a tattoo by David Armacost. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
His art is, I think, pretty fucking top notch in the city. So I'm dying to get.
Dude, I
into
just
it.
I never understood the hate for like the tattoos. Like even as a
It's a-
kid,
yeah.
like my dad had them. My dad still only has 3 to this day. But like watching any cartoon, any show, any movie where a dude had a tattoo or some
Bad
sort of
guy.
scar on him, no, it was like that guy's fucking badass.
Yeah,
like that's my
Yeah.
favorite dude on the show.
I mean, I don't know. It was weird to me because tattoos got their hold in me. At first, I got it because the only people who did it were like circus freaks. So the 1800s,
The tattooed lady.
right? the
That was actually a
1800s,
famous
early
tattoo artist's
1900s.
wife. Dana talked about that on one of the episodes.
When you get there, like the way where the world was and where priorities were there, I get them being like, you don't want to be a circus freak. But then they really found their calling with the military.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Like, most people, it was like, oh, it's like being in a biker gang. And I was like, really? But it's also very much like part of the history of the military.
Yeah.
And so for a country
For
that's so
sure.
fucking gang ho or gung ho, kill everyone, military, yeah, the fact that tattoos were some kind of bad thing always seemed bizarre to me. But
Yeah.
And it's
It's also pretty morbid,
thousands of years old. You
Right.
know, it's
Yeah.
been with
Been
us
happening
from the
since the
beginning
dawn
of
of
the dawn of
civilization.
man.
Yeah.
The
Probably
milita-
before even fire.
The
you know?
military attachment, though, is pretty morbid because isn't a lot of those tattoos so that they could identify their
Yeah.
bodies if they were blown up? Like,
Yeah.
he had the fucking eagle with the big dick hanging out and the
That's-
balls
yeah.
or whatever that said
But I'm just
USN
saying,
over the
it's
top.
it's associated with, it's like, oh, you were in the military. Yeah, that's cool, as opposed to, oh, you were in a biker gang. I don't know. I've never had an tattoo. I always wanted to get the Maori styles, like the older style
okay.
tattoos.
Oh,
that
those are
still done.
cool.
But I've never found anybody who can do it, and I understand it's excruciatingly painful.
Yeah.
The closest thing I ever had was I was in Africa for a little while, and I had
Ooh.
scarification.
Oh,
You
shit.
did? What was that like?
Well, it sucked for 2 reasons. One, it sucked, and
Tell me
two,
about it.
didn't take. Like
Oh,
my skin is
shit,
so white.
really?
it
I never
reached out
see.
to
I don't know
scar.
how it ever does.
So basically, well, if your skin is
Tell me.
dark, it will. So basically, what they do is they take this pokey stick, and they dig up part of your skin in a pattern.
Scrape it.
But
On dark skin, it creates a keloid scar, but on white skin, it heals
just goes
a lot
away.
easier.
But they take it and they slice that part off of your skin, and you bleed, and it's the most excruciatingly painful thing I've ever experienced in my life. To the point of where I was in Africa for a Discovery TV show, and me and this guy were sent to the smallest part of we were sent to a place called Surma. It was
Whoa! This is cool as fuck. Let's get into this.
So the Discovery
Surma.
hired me after MTV because Discovery was kind of small at that time, and the show didn't get picked up because it was going to cost too much. But we shot a pilot, and it was me and this guy Zach something or other, and Zach was real pretty, and I wasn't. So it was kind of like the wacky odd couple in Africa. So we went to the Surma tribe in the Surma Mountains. They were right near the I forget what border they were near, and they were a tribe. They had all seen, like, people have done books. And
They're used to being on camera.
They're used to being on
famous.
camera, and they're used to white people. Like, we didn't show up, and they were like, "We're going to kill you." They're like, "Oh, you guys, you're going to film us again? Great." And it's really interesting because they're so close to, I forget what border it was, that they're given AK-47s when they're kids. So there's all these like 13,
Sudan?
14 year
Child
old
soldiers?
border. Thank you.
That's crazy. You knew that.
That is crazy because I'm sitting here going, I know it's a border that's famous and fucked up.
I was
but
gonna
can't think
I
of
was like Kenya, South Africa.
Cody's real smart.
So
Oh.
it's all these like little kids and older guys that are walking around with AK-47s, and the
You
way
saw
that,
child soldiers.
yeah, and well, not really. They were just
That's what they
protecting-
were, basically.
Well, they're protected their land. They weren't like being orchestrated into something else. The other thing that was
Gotcha,
funny
true.
about him is that the higher up you go in the Surma tribe ranks, the more Western clothing you wear.
Oh, really?
So like when the heads of the whole tribe came down, they looked like the rhythm section for like Parliament because they had all like leather jackets and like
Really?
big cowboy hats, and you're like, cool. Yeah, when I left,
Wow.
I just took my T-shirt bag and turned it over and gave them all my T-shirts and my hats because
What an
like, fuck
experience.
that, I don't need them. But when they one of the things they wanted to do in film was us getting scarification. Zach wouldn't do it because he's pretty, and I was like, well, I ain't got nothing to lose. And so, but the guy that adopted me,
You're a champ.
He's like 1,000 years old, and he's as skinny as you are. And he sat next to me at one point because I was moving so much because I was getting cut, and he held me. And he was the strongest human being I've ever been around in my life. He held me completely
I understand that.
still.
Seriously?
Forcibly held me still while I was getting cut so that I didn't make it worse or cut an artery or kick this woman in the face. And that was the
Where
best.
was this? Where's it at?
It's on the back of my leg. I can show you pictures
The
of
type
me.
of dude where it feels like a fucking oak tree just grew around you
Yeah,
for
I
40
was like,
years. You're
I
just like, I'm not
can't-
going anywhere.
I was like, this guy is one of me, and I can't move.
There'd be
This is
nothing-
next
you.
level strength.
I
And if
understand him.
I was
He
like,
could
that's-
gently pull your arms off of
If
your
he
body.
wanted to,
just
for
pull
sure.
your head off and start eating it
Funniest
like a
part was-
fucking
No
cantaloupe.
effort.
I
Yeah,
finally
I can't
tapped
do
out.
that.
I finally tapped out, and the whole tribe thought it was funny. But
You
I
passed
tapped.
out?
I was like, no, I tapped out. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm gonna fuck your show. I'm gonna give Discovery kiss my ass. I'm not doing this anymore. It hurts too bad. And then like right after I did it, while they were mopping up my blood, this like 12-year-old girl finishes this giant scar piece she has on her back, and I was like, and I am a pussy. And that's
Whoa!
that's how that rounded. Yeah, I was in Africa for a month.
How crazy
You
are the
said it
shots
rejected.
going to Africa?
Hold on. You said it rejected.
It didn't reject it; just healed.
Okay.
It's supposed to stay there
Is
permanently.
it still there?
No.
You're supposed to get a keloid scar, which is what the
Waste.
technique's based on, which is what happens with darker skin typically. So if you get the keloid scar, that's permanent scarification. You can actually make something out of it. That's what they're able to do. They did it the exact same way. Heals up just fine.
Yeah, and like I have pictures of me like bleeding horrendously from
It ruined
my
the
leg
trip?
and screaming.
God
I didn't ruin the
damn.
trip. There's nothing could have ruined that trip. That was like probably to this day. That month was cooler than the 3 years I was at MTV.
What else happened?
Did the
What is
malaria
it-
medicine fuck you up at all when you had to
Well,
take that?
the thing that fucked me up was that television stations rarely do anything in the way of what's best for the person that's going to be on the show.
Sure.
So
What bleeds is what
Discovery,
leads.
yeah. Well, no, it wasn't even that. It was a Discovery called me and they're like, we're making our decision on whether or not you'll be going. If you do go, you'll be leaving in about a month. Well, 3 weeks later, 4, 5, 6 days before we were supposed to leave, they called me like, yeah, you got the job. So now I have to go and get like 187 shots in 3 days.
Ooh.
And that fucked me up. I was like,
How many is it?
For
I know
real?
187 is hyperbole, but
Yeah.
what's the real,
very
like,
true.
what are we
It
talking
was
about?
9 or 10 shots.
Are they
Jesus
painful as
fucking
fuck?
Christ. Yeah,
They're not painful. It's just that they have to put them. They put 5 in one arm, and then you come back the next day and they put 5 in the other arm, and it's everything from tetanus on down.
Makes me cringe.
And the thing is, you pump your body so full of that stuff, your body's like, what are you
Getting
doing?
sick.
And so I got lightheaded. I didn't get sick. I got lightheaded. And my arms were really sore. Like, part of this was going to be extremely physical. And I was like, if I can't lift my arms past here, I'm not going to be much good to anybody in this thing. But it all worked out. One thing was, so where the Surma tribe is, there are no cops, there are no police force. So the way they solve problems,
Military, right?
The 14-year-old is going to laugh. The way they solve problems, not even with the guns, it's called donga stick fighting, which sounds funny. But what they do is they take
They're
find
big
these,
black cocks and they swing them at each other.
I was just waiting for that. They strip down the specific type of wood, and they make these giant solid sticks, and they beat the shit out of each other with them until the dispute is settled. And they literally they come into
that's their justice.
That's prison
and
shit.
And
Like,
the thing
you
is, though,
fucked my wife, I'm gonna beat the
fucked
shit
my
out
wife,
of you.
You're trying to come into my neighborhood, or you're trying to take my land, you're trying whatever. And the funny thing is, it's very regimented. It's not like free form at all. There's a guy, like an older guy, who stands there. You come, you click the sticks, and he makes a gesture, and you fight. And when he says stop, like if you hit the guy and he's down, and he says stop, and you don't stop, everybody gets to beat the shit out of you. Like, they're like,
What?
we're not
That's
here.
prison stuff.
We're like, we're
That's
not here for
crazy.
anybody to die. We're here for this to get settled. So it's really, really regimented, and they wanted us to participate in one to a certain extent, obviously.
You beat the shit out of someone with a
No,
stick?
not at all. But they were like, they wanted to see, so they could whack you to see how much pain you can take. And so I let them do it to me. Zach wouldn't let them do it to him. And they hit me They hit me like twice, and I was like, I'm good, thank you. That hurt a lot. I never want to experience that again.
Where did
in
they
my
hit
life.
you at?
In my arm. It wasn't anything bad. They weren't like
Bruised?
crushed. Oh yeah, real bad. I woke up the next day. I was like,
Felt like you got that malaria shot all
Yeah,
over
like,
again.
this
So
sucks.
what?
I
can't
So
lift my
I
tricep
guess
at all.
with this,
Awesome.
I mean, also people who are guilty could win.
Oh yeah,
right?
sure. It's just the way, but like I said, it's also very regimented. Like, you go and you're, from what I understand, I didn't speak their language. We had two different translators. There was like a guy that spoke English and another form of the African language that, and
Was
then
close
he would speak
enough.
to another guy who spoke the Surma language. So there was like 2 or 3 people.
Whoa.
Goddamn
that's
game of
crazy.
telephone to get to the dude.
So like, I have no idea what really goes on, but from what I was explained to, and what I understand, they go and they say, this is a dispute, we can't settle it any other way. And they're like, okay, you guys fight, and whoever wins, wins. And they're like, that's cool. Like, they're fine with it. That's just how they were. Another great story. This is my favorite story, just because it's kind of one of those,
Tell
like,
me, baby.
we're all humans at one point. So the camp that we had a generator. So the way the show worked is we would go up to where the tribe lived and live with them for a little while, and they would film
You'd
us
sleep
doing,
there too?
Yeah, they would film us doing stuff like, at one point, like
Super hot?
they stick super hot, and I'm like fat and into black t-shirt, not the best move ever.
In
You're like,
Africa?
go to Africa. What should I pack? All jeans.
All I had was black t-shirts and
chain
cutoffs, and
wallets.
I, was like, I should have bought a white shirt. Like, who am I fooling here? Anyway, so but one of the things they would do is like they
You
would
thought you were gonna look
stick it-
badass.
Yeah, I
to
thought
the,
I was
like legit
It'll be thin.
Africans
It'll be
living in
skinny.
the.
I'll
The
look
tribe's
skinny
gonna
in
think
my
I'm
black
so
shirt.
metal, dude.
So they would like, one thing they do is they would stick this spike or something into a cow's throat, because like they drink cow's blood.
With
I remember
milk,
that in
right?
Survivor.
They mix the
Yeah.
milk with the blood.
And so at one point they like gave it to me, and I was like, I'm like pouring it down my throat and screaming Slayer lyrics.
What
and I'm having
was
the
that
best
like
time.
though?
Oh, that's
all it is
awesome.
Dude,
really-
they just did
all
that
it
on
is is really-
Survivor Africa. I know it's
all
so
it is
lame.
really salty. Like, it's like, you ever gotten a bloody nose and it runs in your mouth?
It's
Imagine-
irony.
You're just like, this is kind of grim tasting, and if you don't think about the fact that it's blood, you're just like, it's not. It doesn't have some horror. Like the fermented beer that they drank, there was like this beer oatmeal, and you drank it down with somebody else, and then like when you threw up, that was like the bonding moment. That was way worse than.
Was like your turd
blood,
afterwards totally bloody?
Well, you will get some kind
It's
of
a real question.
shit problem there. It's like a rite of passage. Like if you don't, then
sick. Oh,
I have
something's
to
wrong
go.
with you. So you do it, and then you get through it, and then you're done. And the funny part is, when we landed, we stayed for a few days in Addis Ababa, or Addis Ababa, however you pronounce it, and that was a city, right? Like, I stayed in a hotel and whatever. But the poverty there and the crime and it's so oppressive. Like, people here think they understand poor, and they don't.
No, not a chance.
At least not on that level. That when you get out to the bush, where you think you are nervous because it's completely alien to you, it's much calmer, and you're like, okay, I can
Those
wrap
people
my
have
head
resources
around.
and places to
And-
shit.
Yeah,
They're not on
exactly.
top of each other and fucking.
So that was cool. I'm trying to think of another one, another fun thing. Oh, the one funny thing was they could not figure me out because they're all, super hungry. Like they don't have a lot to eat. So overweight people, not in their purview really at all. So there was this big stream
jerks
of
to you?
constant. No. They just didn't get it. They loved me. They thought they didn't understand why my war paint didn't come off. They were like, what the
Whoa,
fuck
that's
is this
cool.
guy? But there was this large
War
running
paint.
stream that's where you would bathe, because there was this constant fresh water running by there. But like one day I'm like standing there in my underwear and I'm like soaping off, and the guys are looking at me, and they start like pulling on my boxer shorts. And I asked one of the guys, and they were like, they don't understand how you have boobs and a penis. Like they don't understand like how I have man.
What?
Because I've man. They're like they don't understand how you have this up here and then still have a dick. And how they're like, so I was like, I'm like boobs and a penis, like running around singing that song. That was cool. At one point, we were waiting between shots, and at that point in time, 50 Cents in the Club was popular.
Love
so
it.
I start going,
Love
or it
it.
was. Well, it had been popular years before, but it was still. And I'm sitting there going, dun. I had my headphones on, like dun 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 dun, and all of a sudden, all the little kids start imitating it. So I've got like this whole posse of little kids who are going dun dun dun, and they don't know what they're doing, but they just won't stop doing it.
They're just so into it.
Yeah, we had. I'm trying to think of.
That's
Yeah,
such
it was-
a wild
it was-
experience.
yeah, that
was it
was-
spiritual for you?
It was spiritual as far as survival goes, just because I didn't know what I was doing.
That the kids chanting the hip hop thing reminds me. Are you guys hip to David Cho at all? The graffiti artist
Yeah.
that got
Yeah.
paid. So he had this thing where he went over to Africa and same thing. He was teaching them Descendants lyrics where it was like fucking teenage or juicy burgers, juicy fries, teenage pygmies on the sides, and they were like juicy burgers, juicy fries, like like just imitating the words, like they didn't really know it.
And they loved. Oh, but the one that's like this. All of us are one. So the camp after we were done filming, or if we'd stayed a couple days, we wanted to come back and kind of have like a normal meal. We'd have tents. We had a campsite and had a generator. So I would leave my laptop there to start up, and I'd brought a whole bunch of DVDs with me because this is a very long time ago. So there was no streaming, there was no downloading to my computer. It was all DVDs. And so my favorite movie in the world is Jaws. So I bought Jaws because it's also like a creature comfort. When I would feel like, when I get like weird panic attacks because I was so far from home and it was such a different environment, I would like watch that and it would chill me out.
Interesting.
So I'm watching the movie one night. It's at night. And I'm watching the movie, and I turn around, and there's one of the tribes guys is like, because they came down and hung out all the time. Because like I said, they were used to like white people and machines and trucks. They had been filmed. There's like 2 or 3 books about them. They knew what was up. They weren't like, ooh, what is
just wanna
this
hang out.
sorcery? They'd never really seen that before. So this guy's like staring at Jaws, and like over the next couple of times of watching it, I would have like a couple more people. Then a couple more. So at one point, I'm sitting there watching Jaws on my laptop with like 9 people behind me,
Like
9 or
watching
10,
it?
and they're
That's
watching it, and they're
wild.
like jumping at the right points. They're screaming at the right points. They're yelling like they
totally get
they
it.
totally got it, and they had no fucking idea what was going on. And the other thing I never thought of was they'd never really seen a shark. Like where
They're
would
probably
they
like,
see a
"What
shark?
is
Right,
this?"
They were
that
like,
probably
"The
seems so
fuck is
alien
that?"
to
What
them.
the fuck is that?
And it came, and they probably bought it more than anybody else. They're like, I guess that's what it looks like. We're like, that's fake. So, yeah, that
Like,
was
it probably gave him a lot of nightmares.
the
you know.
most spiritual thing, I guess, about it was that I learned it really started me down the path of disliking the greater part of my country's population, because I saw suffering and poverty and having nothing on a level that I'd never experienced before. And then I would come back. I came back to the States, and everybody's bitches and complaint there. It seemed
I
very
kinda feel
tedious.
that.
And I was like, and it's gotten worse and worse as I've gotten older. I have very little tolerance
Is that why you're not on
for
Facebook?
human. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook. I wasn't on. I tried to quit Instagram, but it's
Thank
like,
God you didn't. You wouldn't be here right
yeah, I
now.
know, right? I tried to quit Instagram, but the thing is, like, I've got people that I actually do talk to through Instagram, and also there's a whole bunch of like record shops and stores and stuff. They don't do email newsletters anymore. So like the only time you know something's
It's
like,
really Instagram's like the only social
and-
media
and
that's
there's
worth
no
anything.
politics. Like, I don't have to read anybody's diatribe
Yeah.
about this because it's too fucking aggravating to write
For sure.
anything long for
Every day.
Instagram. So, yeah, I got off of Facebook because I couldn't fucking handle it. Twitter, I just don't get. I was like, I have all these
Fucking
people.
Same.
I have all these
can't
people
do
that I
it.
follow, and then when I
Can't.
go on, when I had a Twitter, I would go, none of the people that I follow am I seeing the tweets from.
Yeah.
It's all these people that they like or retweet.
Exactly.
I don't care about them. My head hurts now. And so
Yeah.
I stopped. I have my Twitter account still open.
And it
because-
feels super schizophrenic the whole time.
and
like
there's no connection to anything, but I became friends with Mick Foley when I was in MTV.
Whoa,
And
what,
he-
really?
Oh, yeah.
No, like Cactus Jack McFoley.
No, the other Mick Foley.
Cactus Jack.
Holy shit.
No, Mick Foley,
Frank
who runs the
McFoley.
bar.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
you don't know
so-
Jim McFoley?
You don't know the other Mick Foley? No, so I
Cactus.
became friends with him. God damn. And he doesn't really have a phone, and the way he communicates with everybody is he communicates through Twitter. So I still have my Twitter open because when he comes through Cincinnati, he'll tweet me and be like, hey, I'll be in Cincinnati. Let's hang out. Like he came through before and did something for the Cyclones. So I went and met him
Nice.
at the Cyclones game, and my wife, she loves my wife's food. My wife's a chef. So my wife is in love with him. Like if my wife's going to leave me for anybody, it's going to be Mick Foley. And
Does
so-
Mick Foley just hit you up to crash on your couch because he doesn't want to spend the money on a hotel room?
No. They take good care of him, but he doesn't. He eats a lot of shit. So my wife, she's very into healthy eating and whatever, she'll make him like quality food. So but like Twitter, I didn't get, I didn't understand, and then I tried. What's the fucking one? The other one?
Zanga.
No, the Snapchat.
MySpace.
Yeah.
So I tried Snapchat, and MySpace I was on, but that was years ago.
That was the
Snapchat.
good-
I was like,
greatest
I'm
one.
not single and I'm not 12, so I don't really need it. So I can't stand social media for.
I hate it too.
I can't deal. But Instagram, I really enjoy, and there's
Luke
a
and
lot.
I use it.
I can't even post on
Snapchat?
it.
That's cool.
It's each your own.
I deleted Snapchat. I haven't posted on Instagram in like 2 years. Fucking
I-
Facebook's the only one that I ever do shit on.
See,
ever.
Facebook, I just can't stand because it's like I'd have to read what people thought, and people that I'm friends
He's
with.
so
I'd be like,
right, though,
I'm going to
about
kill
Snapchat, though.
You. And so Instagram's great, and there's, like I said, most of the time I go and I scan through. Like my buddy owns a toy shop called Super 7, and they do, the reaction figures where they make figures in movies, but they look like the old Kenner figures.
I don't, but he probably does. Luke, you hip to this?
Yeah, so like he does those, and so he'll announce things on there. There's a bunch of like old bookstores that'll say, "Hey, we found a copy of this first edition or a not too bad busted up version of this comic book or whatever. If you want to buy it, it's on sale now for $25." So I keep it for that, and then for the few people that I like to talk to.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just not neither is Jamie. It's like one big problem with Cream is that we're not on any social
That's
media
why we have
presence.
Pat. Pat's the only fucking. That's why you do 3 dudes. You got to get another
I
dude that likes
I gotta get
social
somebody
media.
who's into social
That's-
media because we're like we started a
telling
Facebook
you, find
page
a-
and we're like no.
Find
I
your
just
Pat.
knew it from playing music, and
Pat likes to do
I
that.
lucked
Absolutely.
out because I know like what sells on there.
Luke
Yeah.
uploads,
I
but he
didn't
doesn't
do
like
shit.
it.
I think Patrick took over Instagram like episode 8, and like those first 8 episodes, I was just doing what I was doing on Facebook. Description, link in bio, and then no hashtags. So,
Yeah.
so like
I have like a whole thing that I copy and paste with
We
like
need to get-
fans
I'm sure
of
our
this,
fans are enthralled in this conversation about how we
join our
post to
Facebook
Instagram right
group.
now.
Instagram.
I have like
we,
a
and
whole
all
spiel.
Cream, we have to get better at even Instagram because like if you look at our posts, it's just our fucking ad with "Hey, listen to this week's show," and like every
yeah,
now
that's
and then,
what the fuck I was doing.
every now and then I'll try this.
Nothing.
And I always tell Jamie, I'm like, hey, if you get new pictures, go sign into the Cream Podcasting and post them and do this. And he's like, okay, and then doesn't.
Do it
It's
then. You
super
do
fucking
it.
aggravating.
If he can't do it, you do it.
Oh,
you
I
know.
But then I get lazy too.
You were
so I
telling
guess-
us earlier that you had like 1 million podcasts you've been starting. I saw
Well-
the 100 things. What is that? What's
Well,
that
I was
idea?
trying to do another one. I was like, I'm going to try to do a more because the first podcast I ever had was People Ruin Everything, and I did a few episodes, and I was like, it's really hard to
What was
be.
the concept? Was
I,
there one?
I would just get on
People
the
Ruin
thing
Everything.
and bitch about everything that I hated. But what I started to notice was that like doing that weekly is bad for the soul.
it makes you hate
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, you're
everything.
just like you wake up and
Yeah.
you're like, I'm fuck this, and I'm like, I don't do that. So then I stopped that, and then I did the Ian show where I was trying to do like interviews and more sort of a broad section of that, and then I just got bored. I just get bored really
Do you
easily.
gain fans from these projects to get upset with you at
Yeah,
the end of
lots
the
of
thing?
them.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
Well,
I
now
really
when I-
enjoyed those 6
now
episodes.
when I started, everybody's like, yeah, new podcast, great. Like
Why don't they just-
I started 100 things that I like. I did one. I was like, that sucked. I don't like this. It's a cheesy
Why don't you just
concept,
string them
and I
together?
stopped.
Like, instead of just
Yeah.
having all these
the
different.
one,
just
the one we kind of brought back was the one that got the most traction. It was called Aliens, Punks, Monsters, and Kung Fu. And I would just like talk about. I would break down and make fun of like a cheesy '80s film. And we've recently added that to Cream. So like the way that the Cream podcast breaks out is The first week and the third week, me and Jamie get together and talk comic books. Second week, Jamie does a show on his own called "It Came from the Dollar Bin," where he talks about shit from the dollar bin. And then the last of the week, I'll do a movie for Cream Presents Aliens, Punk Monsters, and Kung Fu. Like we did Blood Beach, and then this week, the one that's going to post. I don't know when will they hear this.
This Sunday.
Okay, so it'll probably be up by then, hopefully.
Just check out Cream Podcast.
We're doing Chopping Mall.
That is such a
Which is
good
a fucking
fucking
great
movie to
Basically,
talk shit on.
For some reason,
I've never heard of it. What's
It's
Shopping Mall?
ridiculous.
So for some reason that no one really knows, a mall, and this is in the 80s when malls were king, builds a security force of robots that have like
from Terminator.
They're little.
Like the ones with that had
It
the
looks
Gatling
like,
guns
did you
on
ever
the
see
side.
Short Circuit?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Anyway, it
Like
looks
Wall-E.
Yeah, imagine like Wall-E, but really pissed off. It's like that size, and they have
guns.
these.
I
they
appreciate
have
that you
a-
guys keep updating the references for me.
Well, I'm like, at
all right,
some point,
you don't
Do you get
understand
it
this?
now?
Wally's a great one because I keep using Short Circuit, and everyone looks at me like a dog that's been shown a card trick. But now if I use Wally, I'll be like, cool. You don't
Nailed
know
it.
what that
Like
is.
Wall-E.
Yeah,
Got a
nicely,
reference.
So thank
Killer
you.
So keep
Wall-E.
going though. So it's like
Killer
little
Wall-E.
Wallies.
So and they go around, and for some reason they have lasers and like killer grappling hooks, and a lightning strikes the mall, and it short circuits them or fucks them up somehow. So instead of just going up being like, why, and shocking you to detain you if you're not supposed
Do
to
they
be
become prostitute
start-
robots?
No.
They
start-
murder you.
They murder you. So like, and they rip out your throat and like blow this girl's head off, and it's about these kids who are broken into the mall to have a party, and then they start chasing him through the mall, and it's fucking ridiculous and it's hysterical. It's
good.
And I was
love
like,
this movie already.
And most of the movies that I choose, I have some kind of history with when they first came out, because being older, like I would see these movies in the theater, so it'll be something happened, or I was really like Blood Beach. I was so excited because they were like, the tagline was, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, you can't get there, because it's about these people that are being dragged under the sand and killed, and you were like, they're going to show the monster at the end and it's going to be awesome. And they show the monster at the end, it's a giant sunflower, and they show it for like a second half, and it goes "Meow," and that's it. And I was like, fuck this movie. And I tried to get my money back and got in this fucking screaming match with the manager of the theater because he wouldn't give it. I'm like, it's a fucking sunflower. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, kid. Get out of my face.
You watched the whole movie. And you're like, yeah, but the payoff sucked.
I was like,
want
yeah, but the
money
monsters.
back.
I was like, wanted the monster like
Bad
bust out of
review.
the. I was like, one of the monsters bust out of the fucking sand, and like coming after people.
You're trying to
Instead, it
reroute
goes-
Have you ever heard of the movie Hobo with a Shotgun?
Yes.
That was a good one. The killer robot thing made me think of the robots. There's these two robots that go around with these like, it looks like assault grenade
Yeah,
launchers
I'm a,
that
like-
hang you.
Ever since Blade
Stupid.
Runner, I'm Rutger. I mean, I didn't love that movie, but anything Rutger Hauer does.
Yeah.
What
I-
about the remake? Did you like the remake of Blade Runner?
Oh yeah, I thought. Well, it
I
wasn't a
didn't
remake;
like
it was
it.
a sequel.
Yeah.
I
I
thought
like the
I loved it.
brutalism
I
with
loved it. I
like the
thought it was-
visuals, but I
thought-
did not get anything out of that story.
Really,
I didn't
loved
give a
it.
shit
I
about
liked.
it.
I mean, you could figure out kind of what was happening. I don't know. I thought they did a great job.
I
thought they
like the
captured
remake,
spirit of it
or not
really
the
well.
remake, the sequel. I like the sequel a lot more than I like the original because it seemed like.
See, I
they
wouldn't
could-
go there.
I wouldn't go there either. The original was actually
the other
fun
thing
to
with-
watch.
But this is just like when we kicked off the
be
show with Frank Miller. Like when Blade Runner came out when I was a kid, there hadn't been anything like that because everyone was so busy trying to do Star Wars that everything was laser gun battles and friendly aliens or that kind of thing. And then out comes this guy where it's like the future sucks and there's always smoke in the air and it rains constantly and everyone's depressed. And I was like, this
Dark.
is
All right,
cool.
I'm in.
Kind of makes me think of like Mad Max and like
Yeah.
really dark
Well,
post-apocalyptic
one of my
and
favorite
weird.
movies of all time is Road Warrior.
Did you like the new one?
No,
I didn't like
not
the
by
new one
like
at
the
all.
new one?
I
Imagination.
hated the fucking new one.
First of all, it had nothing to do with Mad Max. If it had been called Bald Bitch Goes Driving, I'd have been fine. But it was
Also,
Furiosa.
no Thunderdome. Where was the Thunderdome?
not only that, it's like I have a problem. So, and this drives Jamie and Tank fucking banana shit. 'cause
Drive
they
them
don't-
crazy.
They don't understand it. But when you draw parameters in a film, I don't care how outlandish they are. Like I love Star Wars. It's about fucking wizards with laser swords. Like I get it.
Yep.
But if you step out of those parameters just for effect, I get angry. So this is supposed to be this post-apocalyptic world of, destruction and degradation, and no one has enough to eat and everyone's dying and whatever. But yet this guy has he drives around with two giant speakers with a guy playing rock guitar while he's driving. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's video bullshit. And everybody who's if you were caught in that time,
Why would they make that?
I know. I'm like, at what point were you like, I don't really remember much about the world before it was destroyed, but I know that I want two giant amps and a guy playing rocket. Where'd they find the guitar? Like that kind of shit.
yeah, how's it tuned?
Makes me
after all
angry.
that time and
Yeah.
all that dry
and I can't
air.
stand the girl that plays the lead. Like I love
Charlize
Theron. Like I love the Fast and Furious films. I think they're hysterical.
I haven't seen any.
I'd never seen any of them. My wife and I sat down, and every night for like a week and a half, we watched one of them. They are fucking hysterical because out of nowhere, with no explanation, they go from a bunch of kids who are stealing cars to some kind of incredibly skilled anti-terrorist unit, and they never explain why.
Yep.
And it's fucking brilliant.
Yep.
That's why I never got into it.
Oh, but if you take them as
Are they
funny,
good, though?
yeah, they're funny. They're good as far as like they're silly. The action is fun, and Vin Diesel has like one emotion through everyone. He's like, "We're going to crash. I'm so happy to see you. I love you so much." You're like, this is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, I saw a trailer that
And
just
then The Rock's in it, and I love The Rock. So
Who doesn't love The Rock?
everyone loves it. He's got more followers on Instagram than anyone.
Me.
170
Why don't you like The Rock?
The Rock is so awesome.
his.
I don't care what
He
movie he's in or that I know it's The Rock.
Absolutely.
I'm waiting for the day he fucking muscles his way into like an A-list movie with quality actors, and he just butchers it the whole way through just because
I can't picture that ever happening.
See, I think
picture
he's-
him
He does
nailing
fucking
it.
he does fucking C-list blockbuster rent movies.
Yeah, but I think
in my
that's
opinion.
his like that's what I like about him is he's like, let me think. Yeah, if I try to do like, Dangerous Liaisons or something, people are going to laugh at me. So I'm going to do fucking Tex and Cobb or whatever that fucking fast spinoff
like-
was, or Jumanji 1 and 2. Or
Yeah.
and I
He's
think
like the new Arnold Schwarzenegger
yeah, I think
in a way.
he knows
you know?
who he is and knows what he brings to the table and just exploits the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And I also was a big fan of him as a wrestler. So
I
and-
liked him as a wrestler.
and I'm a big fan of The Rock, but they're not good as in like I got a lot out of that. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah,
but
it just
they're
whenever The Rock's in, I know I'm gonna have some
Solid
fun.
background
Have
noise.
some fun.
If
Yeah,
you just
and
want to turn something
the-
on that's
the
just fun.
Skyscraper sucked. I'll say
Another
that.
another good one like that's like the
Plus-
Equalizer 2. Did you guys see that recently?
see,
with
I-
Denzel
Equalizer?
Washington?
Oh, I really want to
love-
see it.
It's great.
Denzel's
I
a
love
quality
like
actor.
the Equalizer. The first Equalizer, I had to be dragged to kicking and screaming. I was like, I don't see this, and it's one of my favorite films of like newer movies that have come out. Like I watch it religiously. The sequel is awesome. Not as good as the first one,
Yeah.
but fucking killer. So
agree.
you should totally.
And it's just like I thought it was just gonna be a fun Fast and Furious movie. Way more than that.
Way more than
and
that.
I
And-
thought it was just gonna be like dumb shit. And I was
Well,
like, I need dumb shit right now. I'm
Yeah.
thinking too much about life. Let's just turn on dumb shit that I don't have to pay attention
You
to.
reason-
definitely
And it
had
was
it right about
great.
Vin Diesel's fucking one emotion.
Oh, he's
There's
awesome.
If
We're
you
a
guys,
horrible
if you guys
actor.
listeners come check out, dude, I bet you I could out fucking act
could out-
circles
yeah.
around fucking Vin
the
Diesel.
best thing he's
Anyway,
ever done is Groot.
yeah, that's a fact.
Because he's always, I am
there's
Groot.
a
That's all you gotta
scene.
do. Thank you. Great job.
There's a scene in the latest trailer for Fast 9. If you guys check it out,
Where John
where
Cena's his brother.
He fucking
Love it.
yeah,
Can't wait.
yeah. They're just let's bring in all the
So much
wrestler
drama.
actors we
days.
need. But there's a scene in the trailer where he's driving straight off of like a jungle cliff. How did these sports cars get here? Who knows? But he drives off this jungle cliff and he's like stone faced the whole time, like he knows what he's doing. This hook grabs the car and swings him around at like a 180 degree angle.
But by
He's
this,
hold on. He's working at a fucking farm now.
It's
no,
at
he
the
owns
very
Like,
it.
what
end.
happened to this series?
It's
He
right
owns-
there. You'll see right here. Check this shit out. Look at this bullshit. He
Hold on,
drives.
Wait. Let me cue it up real quick.
It's so bad, dude.
yeah, but by
I think I saw this in theaters.
He
And I was
hits
like,
the nitrous.
There's no bridge!
I know what I'm doing.
shut the
What?
fuck up.
Stone faced. See, I know what I'm doing. Whipping
That
around
is
this
the
fucking
dumbest
cliff.
shit I have ever seen.
but it's gonna whip him around and he's gonna
That is
drive up the
almost
side
hold
of
on,
the mountain.
pause that.
Yeah.
That is almost as dumb as like when I saw the Venom trailer
Dude, I
and
hate-
fucking Tom Hardy launched off the bike and his Venom arms brought him back.
But
It
you
was the
have to-
dumbest shit
you
I've
have to
ever
remember.
seen.
You have to remember too. The reason he can do this is by this point he's had such good luck with these fucking cars that nothing's gonna go wrong. He drove one car out a window into another building and was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, by that point, if I'd done
They
all
didn't
the,
break a
they drove
sweat.
it out of the back of a plane. If I drove something out of a plane and
Yeah,
was like,
that shit was fucking stupid.
Remember when
too.
it was
I
just
can
like
drive off a cliff.
driving underneath a tanker
But that
or
was the
whatever?
brilliant
Yeah.
thing is when they start out, it's about this cop who's trying to bust a bunch of guys who are stealing things using fast
Boosting.
cars. And then all of a sudden, they're this elite anti-terrorist unit.
Do you
for
remember
no
they also-
and they went to
Yeah.
Tokyo
Do you
for
remember-
1 year.
So good.
That
They
was
also had
it.
this like
Yeah,
dope
that-
torture scene in one of the original movies where they put a rat on a dude's chest.
Oh,
They put
Yeah.
a bucket and they took a blowtorch to the bucket or whatever, and the rat starts eating through dude's chest. That's in one of the Fast and
That's
Furious,
some Game
like
of Thrones
1 or
shit.
2 type of shit, and it was like,
But
holy shit,
they're
this is crazy.
They're super fun.
Now
Have you
they're
ever seen
good.
how
Dude, let it
uh,
die. There
cra-
shouldn't be 9 things of anything.
I want
good.
there to be 12 of them. I want there to be
Keep
old.
going. I
want
want
there
him to be an old 88-year-old man.
Yeah, like
doing
I want
these.
Vince to I want there to be the one where Vince has to pass the torch to the new Vince. Like that's
Oh,
or Vin.
and he's like,
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one where Charlize Theron. I don't like her because she's trying too hard to be a real actress in this horse shit, and I'm like, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
you're taking yourself way too seriously. But this is the one they
oh my
fight
God.
a submarine in a
so
car.
close. That drifting is so close, bro.
My favorite thing about the Tokyo Drift one is that the main hero is the guy that plays the hillbilly redneck cop in NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was
That
like, what the
stupid.
fuck just happened there?
What is this?
This is
The most ridiculous scene.
Oh, this
from
is where
Fast
they.
and the
That's where they.
Furious.
That's where they drive through the
Mine shaft.
mine
Mine
shaft.
shaft.
Of course.
That's gonna work out with a
So-
Charger and a
Oh,
fucking
yeah, absolutely.
Trans
What
Am
could go
that you've
wrong?
retrofitted.
The quarter mile.
I will say
This is
the
the
first
original one.
first 3 movies were pretty fun, but who gives a shit? But have you ever seen like how cringy Vin Diesel really is
Oh sure,
on the
he's
internet?
an ultimate douche. He
Like-
made an enemy of the Rock. Like no one makes an enemy of the Rock.
How?
do
What
you-
happened there?
How did he do that?
So basically, for all of the Rocks, he's not a great actor or whatever.
Look up Vin Diesel cringe on YouTube.
The Rock shows up. He does his shit. He's super professional. Vin would leave them standing around the set for like 2 hours while he, wouldn't come out of his trailer, and he was just basically a big bitch. And then he tried to be a tough guy, and The Rock was like, "Yeah, this guy is full of shit." Like he just made him
The
so
Rock
mad.
could pick him up and fucking eat him.
But that's the
What
thing
he
is like
doing?
King of cringe.
How do you can't
He could just
make an enemy of The Rock. Like,
The
you have
Rock
to
could
work
hold
at
Vin
it.
Diesel down and dunk his balls into Vin
Oh, yeah.
Diesel's
He
mouth
could
for the
kill
rest of
anyone.
eternity, and Vin Diesel couldn't do anything about it forever.
No. Oh
He
yeah.
just
I
do
wanna hear
squats,
cringe.
with his nutsack on his face. All right, let's hear.
What, 19 minutes?
I don't know, dude. You
I
were the
don't
one that
wanna
told
do
me to,
this one.
You told me to.
I
Fucking
didn't tell you to
pull
look
this
up
one
the longest video of the cringe
Jesus.
compilation.
What do you want from me?
I
Scroll
don't,
back.
But I mean, you don't even have to watch him cringe. It's just there. But like, whenever anybody says, "Well, I don't understand why he thinks that's going to work," I'm like, dude, if I had done 9 of these fucking movies and everything I did in a car worked, I'd be like, I'm
that
probably
one.
going to be okay.
On the top.
That top video is actual cringe.
Yeah,
This
it's-
made me feel super bad.
this
for
makes
the
you want to
reporter.
hate Groot. Baby Groot.
When did we get to Beautiful World?
He's being interviewed right now for Triple X,
Am I right or wrong? Look at it.
and he's
How am I supposed to do this interview? Look at this woman.
Tell me your story.
When did we get
Ew.
to?
So beautiful. Go on, yo, man.
You're a
Talk to
date
me.
rape scumbag.
Tell me your story.
he's wearing like
so-
this
Tell me
cut-off
let's-
plaid.
In this
let's
video,
let's-
he
let's
starts
talk
to
about it.
stand up out of the
God,
seat and argue
look
with
how
somebody
beautiful
like
she is.
off camera. Like, no, of course
She's
she's beautiful.
beautiful.
Look at her. And but you definitely know he's like talking to his like PR guy, and he's like,
Stop.
shut the fuck
Shut
up.
the
Yeah,
fuck
dude,
up.
Shut the fuck. And he's like,
Yeah,
no,
like-
no, she's definitely beautiful. Like,
No,
like, yeah,
she's
all right.
she's comfortable.
You can tell she's comfortable. She's like, "Thank you, I'm so excited." Hashtag me too. Yeah. So
And the
I don't know.
interview's
I don't know
over
anything
before
about
it's even
him.
done.
I mean, I could care less about him. And he also, because he just goes, "Yeah, no, yeah." You can't really hate him in the movies because he doesn't do anything.
yeah.
But
He probably drinks diesel and
I don't know.
water.
He's just hitting on her though. Like I don't know. He's not like
Nah,
No,
you
he's
haven't
not
even-
just
you got-
hitting on her.
You'd have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
I
but
like.
Vin Diesel Can't Stop Praising Reporters, the YouTube video, if you want to watch it.
I
I've
like.
seen way more egregious shit working in kitchens. Like,
I
I've
like-
seen dudes.
He's
Um,
27 seconds into this video. He's saying,
But I also like the fact that he's so bad at everything that he does, and everything fails so hard that when he's not doing a Fast and Furious movie, he does these Triple X movies, which are basically Fast and Furious movies.
Solo,
Yeah.
Fast
He's like,
the same
and
thing.
Furious
it's like
movies.
I can't do anything else. So I
You
better
know
do
what I
this.
like him in a lot though?
What?
The Chronicles of Riddick. I think that those.
I like that.
Yeah.
And Saving Private Ryan.
Pitch-
did you know he
Pitch
was in
Black?
Saving Private
I did.
Ryan?
I did.
He got
I-
shot by the sniper.
Yeah, I forget where he was. Well, I mean, I liked him in what was the one you just said?
Chronicles of Riddick and Pitch
well,
Black.
Yeah.
Pitch Black, I liked him. In the Chronicles of Riddick, I had a hard time getting.
It's a
through.
weird.
I
It was
watched
weird.
it as a kid, so it's
Yeah.
got like that.
But Pitch Black, I thought was great. I
There's
never
a new
saw-
one coming out.
Yeah, I
apparently.
heard there was.
I'm sure it'll be dog
Maybe.
shit, but
I don't
I'm
know.
sure it'll be dog
I
shit,
don't know.
Cody says.
it'll be
It
like
will be. It will
Pitch
be.
Black meets the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, it'll be yeah,
part
he'll-
11.
He'll be driving.
He's driving a car.
You better edit that out because they're gonna steal that idea. It's gonna fucking happen, dude.
and we can't do shit because it's their
Oh,
IP, so we're never gonna
no.
dime for
No.
that.
God damn it.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know how we got off on this fucking Vin Diesel tangent, but
Because we love him.
because we do love him.
He is
He made-
my favorite actor, Oscar-worthy
I'll
performance
spit
every
in your
time.
mouth right now.
No,
I'll tell you how it happened, Ian. We all, except for you, smoked weed, and I got incredibly drunk and ate chicken wings.
There
and
you
then I
go.
was like,
That'll do it.
Let's get to a Vin Diesel
Let's get
tangent.
to a Vin Diesel tangent.
You know what? Let's have Ian Robinson on talk about fuck Vin Diesel for the last half hour of a podcast.
I never thought.
Would
like,
you hang out with Vin Diesel if he was like, hey, man, he called you one
Not
day,
if
he's
he
like,
did
hey,
that shit,
dude,
but-
what's up? You want to hang out?
I would.
You want to hang out?
I probably would, just because I would want to. I would want to see like how douchey he really is.
What if he made a move on you?
I probably. Well, I don't know.
Like,
It depends.
hey, baby,
if
kiss
we're
me.
alone, there's not a lot I can do about it because he's way stronger than I am.
So
Can
you
I
would
see
just
how-
accept it?
No,
see how
I'd
much
fight
worse
it,
this
but there's
gets?
still people fight it in prison all the time,
Like,
but it
fight
still
like,
happens.
stop, Vin.
No,
Stop.
I didn't say I would lead him on. I'd be like, look, I'm trying to bite his fucking lips off, but at some point he may prison rank shank me. I don't know.
Oh man.
People
wow.
fight it in prison all the time, and it still happens. But I don't know. I guess I would hang out with him. Just so I could walk it through the rest of my life going, yeah. So this is one time I hung out with Vin Diesel, and he's as big a scumbag as you think he is.
What if
What if he's
hit
really
on-
cool?
What if he hit on you as hard
Brings
as
an
he's hit on
Xbox.
this interview right here? Like immediately, just
You know
Vin
what I
Diesel
would do?
went
I would
in on it
pretend
with
I was
you.
into it because his obvious male ego would cringe at the idea of a homosexual encounter, and he'd run away screaming. If I was like, you know what, man, you're kind of sexy, he'd be like, hey, I was just kidding, fuck you, and we'll leave.
What if he just got rock hard and burst through his jeans?
It wouldn't
and hit you
happen.
in the chin, like almost knocked you out.
You know what? You're that guy who's like, what if you fall off a cliff? I'd grab a branch. What if there's no branch? I'd land in the
That's
river.
me,
What if there's
actually.
no river below? I'd be like, I'd fucking die. I'd get raped in the mouth by his giant cock. That's what would happen.
Let's
That's
say,
what I
hold
was
on.
waiting
move on.
for
Here,
all
this
along.
might be a wild thought. All right, hear me out.
Okay.
All right, just be open to it. What if Vin Diesel came at you and he's like, "Hey, buddy, I got a stick of butter, and I got a stick of butter for you," and he shoves that stick of butter up his ass. What do you do?
God damn it.
Leave. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Ian.
That's all right. No, I don't get. I'm just like, I know people like you. It's like, what if? Until you finally go, yes, I was raped in the mouth by his giant cock as it popped out with butter in his ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Butter,
All right.
Like
butter's
that.
deep.
The butter's
Next.
actually some weird thing that's associated with the podcast for some reason.
Hey, look, I bring some quality radio to this show.
It's apparently so.
All right,
With butter, you should get some butter place to be your sponsor.
I'd love to.
There
believe
you go.
it's
You,
not
you
butter.
think I haven't thought of that?
I can't believe it's not butter.
I can't believe I'm not sponsored yet.
Or that better be butter.
Yeah, that better be butter.
That better be butter.
It's 100% butter.
It's 100% butter.
Right on.
All right.
Moving on.
All right,
Moving
dude.
on.
Coming
Hey.
up on 10 o'clock, where can we find you at? Where's everywhere that we can go and get your
Well,
shit?
let's see. Instagram. We're only on Instagram, as we've made very clear. There's 3 places you can find us. There's Cream Podcast 513. That's on Instagram if you want to just follow the show. If you want to follow me, it's just Ian Robinson, at Ian Robinson. And Jamie is Jamie_Filer, because Jamie had to make it difficult. That's where we're on
Jamie.
Instagram. The any place you find podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any of those, and even some of the smaller ones. Cream is on there. Just look under Cream, and you'll find the podcast. You might find some other more interesting podcasts, but then again, I'm trying to think. That's about it. We go on. We talk about comics. We talk about movies.
You'll be at Bastard Fest.
We'll be at Bastard Fest, which we're psyched about. It's actually funny. My buddy, the first podcast I ever did was one called Knife Edge Chop. It was about wrestling. And my buddy, we stopped doing that, and he went on to do the Wrestle Special. And he's actually going to be there, too, which I didn't expect.
Yeah.
which is
Quality,
cool.
quality
the event
stuff. Gonna be
brings
there.
in the best.
How did you find him?
Find who?
Tank?
Tank. That makes sense.
He was
Tank.
my
and-
teacher.
No, not Tank. Wow, you really
Yeah.
have-
Wow. Cody.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
No, I said-
no, because I
He
said who
was
did you
my
talk
te-
about, and he said Tank, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
it was
my teacher.
it was bad timing. It was like our texting. I was like, "How did you find my buddy Travis doing the Wrestle Special?" And he went
Tank,
Tank,
yeah.
and you went, "He's my teacher," because you thought,
Yeah.
boom, bang, zoom, bang.
Full circle.
Yeah, he actually wanted me to do the Wrestle Special with him at this, but we were already booked to do it. But if he does it after us or before us, I might do the show with him.
I've heard he's
Hell yeah.
got some
More the
wild
merrier.
plan for the event, but
He
I don't
might.
know. I don't know.
I don't know what.
You guys got something crazy planned? Don't tell me.
I
Don't
don't
tell
know.
anyone. Don't say it. I
He's
don't
going to
wanna-
do the podcast live. It'll be fucking
Yeah,
fantastic.
I don't.
It'll be
I
wild.
have.
Check
I
it
have
out.
no idea what Travis has planned. It always surprises me that Travis can come up with as much shit about wrestling. That's not.
I'm
where you-
hoping for live
where
wrestling.
you don't have to be initiated. Like if you don't know anything about wrestling, you can watch it. You can listen to a show and find it funny. That just always has amazed me because like at some point you're gonna tap that well pretty dry, and he hasn't yet. So it's a great show. But anyway, yeah, Cream, some Instagram. Oh yeah, follow Jamie, who is an amazing artist, makes pins, drawings, all kinds of stuff. He's got an Etsy store called 100% Doom. So it's the number 100, not spelled out, %Doom, and you can find it on Etsy. And his stuff's pretty badass. He's done all
Super badass.
All of the artwork for the podcast that I have started and then ended have all come from Jamie. So
Right on, man. Last
He's
question.
legit.
How happy are you to not be driving home from Columbus right now?
really, really happy. But
Fuck
actually,
yeah,
I wouldn't
dude.
I wouldn't have been in Columbus. I don't think I'm not coming.
Dude, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Sure,
thanks
man.
so much for coming on, man.
Yeah,
it was a
dude.
lot of fun.
I
You're
had a
great.
pleasure. I will
Super
at
good
any
time.
time you want me to come back, I will come back.
Yeah, you're
appreciate
right down
it.
the street.
man.
I got a lot more stories I can share.
Thanks for dealing with my poop jokes and our weird,
fine.
retarded tangent about Vin Diesel.
No,
we
that was
appreciate
awesome.
the fuck out
That
of it.
was amazing. I'm very
super
excited
cringy.
to be part of something that ends in a tangent about Vin Diesel.
Next time, though, poop videos. I'm telling you. It's happening.
Yeah. What's that thing called?
Coprophilia.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
we're gonna-
We'll
we're
talk
gonna-
about it the next
we'll
time
tease
he's
you.
on.
No, we won't.
Yeah, next time he's
Furry
on. Talk
coprophilia.
I won't remind them.
Coprophilia.
Check Ian Robinson out. Check out Jamie C. Fowler. Check out Anthony Tank Mansfield. All of our
Check out
sponsors.
Cream.
We love you all. Follow us at
Mountain
the
Cult.
Bastard Sermon Podcast Group.
Later.
Bye. I love you all.
Good night.
Bye.